You said we been together for 10 years. What you expected? He wasn't gonna never leave me. Girl, stop.
No, you stop.
No,
you
you
want to
stop.
sit here and tell me to stop, but you 19
That's
years
what I'm telling
old.
you. No,
sleep with
sweetheart, I'm
somebody
21 up to
at
the
that
ass
time.
up
Hold
to
on,
19.
one at a time.
After an on and off relationship with the defendant for 8 years, Ms. Hoddle finally decided to call it quits. She was furious that the defendant was no longer willing to accept her and her child and is in court today to try to prove to him that he is the father of her child. The case began like this.
Ms. Hadel, after 8 years off and on with the defendant, the two of you called it quits just 3 months ago because he denies your 1-year-old daughter, Amarella. Now, you want to prove to him that he is her biological father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. We have had a rough road throughout these 7.5 years, 9 months into our relationship.
It seems like they both have reasons not to trust each other. Now, all this while, the defendant, Mr. Andrews, was not treating her child with the same love he showed his other kids. In his defense, he claimed he couldn't trust Ms. Haddle, and he had an exhibit to show why.
No, it's not right. That's due to the things that she has said and done. She told me 2 different names that my child could be somebody else's child. So how can I trust that? Then at the same time, I received a text message.
Hold on. You brought an exhibit.
Correct.
Is that what is contained in the exhibit, that information?
Yes, it is. I let you have it any time, and now you chicken, you're scared to come over.
Ms. Hadel, is that what these text messages
No.
said?
I can't tell you word for word. It was
I
sexual.
know word for word.
At least she didn't deny the fact that she was having sexual conversations with another man. However, Mr. Andrew was not done explaining the reasons why he felt he could not be the father. Trust me. The next piece of evidence is going to blow your mind out of your brain. Take a look.
So next piece of evidence, you jumped out of the window at 3 a.m.
Correct.
Who jumped out the window?
She did.
I was trying to get free from him.
But see, the whole
He's
thing
crazy.
is, she leave the house every time. It's always when a private call come, or it's after 3 a.m. That's the only time he able to get away from his wife, so-called.
What?
And with that said,
Oh wow, Ms. Haddle is one sneaky little woman, alright? Who sneaks out of their house by 3 in the morning? Moving on, Ms. Haddle told the judge that over time she changed and was trying to be a faithful woman to the defendant. But the judge was not buying that. She then went on to drop this truth bomb.
How were you being a good woman? And look, I'm not saying he was perfect either, because I'm getting to you next.
no doubt.
But how were you being a good woman and you admit that you were on the phone with men, getting text messages, going out, finding comfort, flying out the window at 3 a.m.?
This was after 7.5 years. Like, this stuff built up. It was more or less, you're doing this to me.
3 children outside of their relationship? Come on, Mr. Andrew, that's a bit far. Even Judge Lauren couldn't hide her disappointment. Anyway, Mr. Andrew still wasn't done with his list of evidence. He had more to show the judge, and this was the next one on his list.
3 children? Let me get back to this exhibit. Found a condom
So at
in the
least
car.
I was using protection and it ain't no one else.
Do that. But she know I'm the one who take my daughter to daycare every morning. I'm the one get the dress, take daycare every morning. Little dirty people couldn't even take the condom and throw it away.
If you found a condom in the car.
So
Ain't no
wait.
if I showed you.
I bet you weren't expecting that evidence. After all the evidence was displayed, Judge Lauren turned to Ms. Haddle and asked her to defend herself. She began by saying that she wasn't feeling enough comfort and security in the relationship, and that's why she cheated.
And out of spite, she just go to running her mouth, and when she get mad, she'll tell on herself.
He's full of it. But
And
I
then
apologize, Your Honor.
She told me 2 other men was daddy.
His mouth,
which
from the time I wake up in
which
the
I've
morning
already
till the time I
assumed
go
from
to
the
sleep
get-go
does not
anyway. I've already
stop, and all he does
physically
all
abusive,
damn day
though.
is talk
I don't put my hands on you,
about
but
how
just-
bad of a person that I am. So when I went out and cheated on him,
Judge Lauren sure wasn't buying her story, and she made it very clear. In no time, Mr. Andrew and Ms. Haddle got into an unending argument about how they were both at fault for the situation they were currently in. Believe me, at some point, all the judge could do was sit back and watch them rant.
as I stated, May 2014, when I got with him again, as in let's work it out, we were planning
How you
to
figure- how you
have a
figure that? How
child
you figure that?
because
When you told
I
the guy
wanted a
anytime.
boy.
Why you
So
figure- how you
why
figure that?
wouldn't
You told the guy
why would
anytime.
I sleep around
true.
with
You
other
was.
people if I'm in love with him and I'm trying to make it work?
No, you wasn't. You was
And
loving
so
the other guy.
okay, all right.
Oh, she has had enough of both of them. It got so bad that she had to give them a scolding session. All they did in the courtroom was argue about who was cheating and who wasn't cheating. What was even more upsetting was that they never mentioned their child at all.
So either way, it's not right. And I want this to be done and over with so that we can move on. At least my kids will know everything that Daddy was saying about Mommy is wrong.
I mean,
And then let's be honest, stop talking. You can't be proud of yourselves. The situation is hideous. It's just listening to you all. I can only imagine what these children have witnessed and what they've heard.
Oh well, it doesn't look like these two are ready to reach an agreement and find a way out of their messy situation. Let's see if the DNA results will reveal the truth they have refused to tell the judge. Here is the verdict.
Mr. Andrews, you are the father. You have tears in your eyes. How do you feel in this moment?
I love her regardless. It's my daughter's sister, so it didn't make me no difference if I was or wasn't. I just wanted to prove.
Oh, it didn't?
Yes, it did.
I'm tired of you talking in circles, Mr. Andrews.
In this case, Ms. Martinez claimed that her family had hit a roadblock when the defendant, Mr. Hernandez, decided to deny both of her children. She was in court to prove to the defendant that he was the father of both her children. The whole situation began like this.
Ms. Martinez, you say your family is torn apart since the defendant has denied both of your children, 4-year-old Richard II and 3-year-old Renee. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're currently behind more than $6,000 in child support and refuse to care for either child until it is proven that you are their biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
He had better have a solid for neglecting those kids of the fatherly love they deserve. Clearly, they have a lot of figuring out to do because their relationship is a mess. The judge then proceeded to ask them how their relationship started in the first place. Mr. Hernandez took the floor by saying this.
We first met, she was trying to get all over me or whatever from the beginning, but I ignored her.
Okay. And what were your intentions, Mr. Hernandez?
It started getting serious. I mean, well, I felt like it was, and I don't know, I wanted to be with her. All of a sudden, I find out she's doing other things with my friends and stuff.
Doing other things like?
It's a one incident he's talking about, Your Honor. It was a one-time thing.
Let's just say Ms. Martinez was not ready to be in a relationship, and Mr. Hernandez would not take no for an answer. Now, here's where things get really intense. A couple of weeks before she got pregnant, she got intimate with one of Mr. Hernandez's friends, and all hell broke loose.
Okay, let me tell you about that, Your Honor. We were still on and off, right? I called her, and she's like, I'm with this person, which is my friend. And I was like, okay. Next day, I talked to her. She's like, okay, yeah, I did have intercourse with this man. I forgave her. And a few weeks later, she finds out she's pregnant.
Your Honor,
Is that true, Ms. Martinez? Were
Yes,
you
it is.
intimate with another man a
Yes,
few
Your
weeks
Honor.
before you told him you were pregnant?
Yes, I did have intercourse with him 3 times.
She might have been sleeping around, but he had no right to call her that. Judge Lauren was going to lose her temper if he didn't check his tone. After going back and forth about the conception dates and when she conceived, Mr. Hernandez went on to drop this truth bomb.
They induced me on my
Which
due date.
gives me doubts about
And then
that,
I
too.
had to have an emergency C-section right after.
In your mind, you say this is his child.
Yes.
In your mind, Mr. Hernandez, you're saying, I'm thinking back to a few weeks before that when she admitted to me she was intimate with somebody else.
Yes.
And I'm also thinking about the fact that this this date has been induced. It's not the natural birth date.
Wow. She actually told him the baby was not his. That would have been a hard pill to swallow. Now, Mr. Hernandez claimed that after she dropped that bombshell on him, he didn't want to have anything to do with her anymore. But before he could finish his statement, Ms. Martinez stopped him and said this.
You didn't show back up to the hospital in time. You got angry.
And I said, that's why you're not the father.
But once she said that, Mr. Hernandez, then all your bells start ringing.
Yes.
But see, Your Honor, I don't see how he
it
can
pushed me
say
to
that.
the point where I didn't even want to be there for her no more. At the surgery, I didn't want to see my son anymore. I didn't want to be with her. I
Your
didn't want
Honor,
to be
he
there
does
around
this
them.
flip-flop every other day. He's begging for his family one day.
Ms. Martinez might be speaking facts. If he does not believe the kids are his, why did he sign the birth certificate? Moving on, Mr. Hernandez's doubts had taken over his mind. They got so bad that the judge had to tell him the truth to his face.
What does that have to do anything?
Exactly.
You think she slept with your friends?
Yes, Your Honor. Most
And now
of
the
them.
kids look like them.
Yes,
They
Your Honor. Every
look
time
like
I see them,
everybody.
there's something different about them every single day.
Kids change every day.
I understand
Ms.
there's facts
Martinez,
of
how does
what
this affect these
the way
kids? This
she's
is what
acting.
I'm worried about.
Does
Does he say this out loud?
Yes, he tells them to their face that, oh, you want to go see your father, and he'll say his friend's name.
Ugh! Does he even want to be the father of these kids? Because it sure doesn't feel like he does. Trying to prove to the judge why he still had heavy doubts about being the father, he went on to say that after she gave birth to the second child, his friend showed up and said this.
Okay, Your Honor. Well, with our second son, we were at the hospital. The man that she named after him, just all of a sudden, as soon as he's born, called me and says, hey, I'm outside. And I was like, whoa, how did this man even call me right now? I haven't spoke to him in months. Why would he even call me? And why would he even be outside? I get down there, I'm talking to him. He wants to come upstairs and, hey, can I see your son? Well, you didn't do this with my first son. Why would you want to?
That's a very valid question. What was he thinking signing all the birth certificates if he had this much doubt? That's not how it's done. Hearing all of that, Judge Lauren had no choice but to scold him once again. And she began like this.
Well,
But you sign birth certificates.
Yes.
And then you voluntarily don't participate.
I do.
So you're in arrears in more ways than one.
When she asks of it, I will do it. But most of the time, she doesn't even call me and ask me and say, hey, I need this or
She
that.
shouldn't have to call you.
Thank you.
You signed the birth certificate. See, Mr. Hernandez, this is why I'm being tough on you.
Let's pray all she said gets to his head, or he might end up in her courtroom again. Enough of their drama, wouldn't you say? The results are finally ready to be revealed. And now we'll know if Mr. Hernandez's doubts were valid after all.
Mr. Hernandez, you are his father. So you are the legal father and the biological father
Like I said.
of both boys.
So can you step up now?
I can.
What I've heard in this courtroom through this testimony as to what has been said and what has transpired in front of these children is shameful. It's deplorable.
For this couple, everything was hanging in the balance. Mr. Mason claimed he had spies who caught his wife having affairs with multiple men outside of their relationship, and now he doubts he is the father of their 1-year-old child. He began his case like this, and
Mr. Mason, you say today will determine the future of your relationship with the defendant, Ms. Malone. You say you lost all trust when you set up a watchdog to keep tabs on Ms. Malone and discovered that she had men coming in and out of the house while you were at work. And now you believe 1-year-old Avery is not your daughter. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
their relationship actually kicked off with a really good start. Along the line, their relationship got a little wishy-washy, and the very sweet relationship they once had became a nightmare they couldn't wait to get out of.
I found out that she was doing a lot of sneaking around when I was in the house.
What kind of
And
sneaking?
Going through the alleys, meeting people.
In the alley?
In people's cars.
You were walking in the alleys, Ms. Malone?
Yes, I was sneaking around, in fact, but there was a break.
You were sneaking around doing what?
seeing other guys.
Living together, and they claim to be on a break in their relationship, like Judge Lauren asked, how do we's that work? Anyway, Judge Lauren then asked Mr. Mason to explain what he meant when he said the defendant, Ms. Malone, was sneaking around. He started by saying this.
I had somebody tell me that she was going out the back door and down the alley to jump in somebody's car.
I was actually coaching a local cheerleading team in our city, and a guy had came to pick me up to take me to our game that we had that day. It was no relations, it was we were strictly friends, and that was it.
Ah! She finally comes out with the truth. It looks like she still wanted to have some fun before settling down with Mr. Mason. After Ms. Malone revealed the shocking truth, Mr. Mason went on to tell the court that he had hired a spy to monitor his wife while she was sneaking out of the house.
I had a friend watching my front door who lived right across from where we lived at.
Oh, you had a watchdog, right?
Yes, Your Honor, every time I went to work. She blamed it on because me and her wasn't having any intimacy or anything like that.
Do you remember that confrontation, Ms. Malone?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then what did you respond?
I told him that it was my father that came to the door, and he actually asked my father, and my father said, yes, I came over there that day.
Oh, wow. So, Ms. Malone wasn't riding the bus with only one man. She must really love to explore. To complicate the whole situation, Ms. Malone was sleeping with both the other guy and Mr. Mason during the window of conception.
Okay, so let me say this. When it comes to the window of conception, that's what's relevant as it relates to the paternity. So when you cheated, when you were out with this other person, was that during the window of conception?
Yes, Your Honor, it was.
So when you found out you were pregnant, did you tell the other guy it could possibly be his child as well?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
At least she was honest with Mr. Mason about her sleeping with the other guy, but she wasn't completely honest. Even though she told Mr. Mason she was intimate with another man, he claimed that she did not particularly tell him to his face. This was how he found out like this.
I had to find out about the other guy from waking up out of my sleep, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, he did not.
What happened?
I overheard a conversation between her and another individual about she found the other guy on a website and how much Avery and the other guy and the other guy's child look just alike.
Could you really blame him for reacting that way? I mean, he just had the worst news of his life. What was she really expecting? Now Mr. Mason wasn't done revealing why he had doubts about being the father of the child in question. Trust me, there were more truth bombs to be told.
Your Honor, at first it was 2 guys that popped up at our doorstep saying they were Avery's father.
What?
There was a guy that came to the doorstep
You said
that
two.
I had relations with.
Then you narrowed down to one.
But we actually wore protection, so he was out the question.
Well, you can't argue with that. The babies don't look like Mr. Mason, but they sure look like their mother. Enough was heard from Mr. Mason and Ms. Malone, and the judge decided to hear from a third party. She asked Ms. Malone's mom to come into the court, and this was what she had to say.
I have to ask you, do you believe Mr. Mason is your granddaughter's biological father?
No, I do not, because they were on a break when she was conceived, and I knew that my child was seeing someone else because they were on a break. To me, she doesn't look like him, and I was in the room when she was born.
It doesn't look like Ms. Malone's mom is a fan of Mr. Mason, but that was not the only shocking thing to be revealed in the courtroom. Apparently, Ms. Malone happens to be 6 months pregnant, and just like the child in question, Mr. Mason does not believe he is the father.
Because in the court papers, it says that Ms. Malone is currently pregnant again.
Yeah.
How far along are you, Ms. Malone?
I'm 6 months, Your Honor.
Is there a question as to the paternity of this child as well?
Yes, Your Honor. He doesn't think that the unborn is his.
In my opinion, these two need couples therapy because this is just one big-ass mess. Well, you know what time it is. The only way out of this situation is to reveal the truth hiding in the DNA results.
Mr. Mason, you are not her father. What are you feeling in this moment, sir?
I'm mad, Your Honor, but I can't be really mad about something that I already knew.
Mr. Mason, you are the father.
Mrs. Simmons was in court claiming that the defendant, Mr. Burgess, begged her to have his child. And the moment she told him she was pregnant with his child, he turned his back on her and disappeared. The court case began like this.
Ms. Simmons, you claim that the defendant begged you to have his baby, but then disappeared when you told him you were pregnant. So you're here to prove to Mr. Burgess and his fiance that he is your son's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. We was talking online at first, and we was talking over the phone, and he had told me he was single and everything. And then I had came to his house.
Looks like Mr. Burgess lied his way into kicking it in bed with Ms. Simmons. Diving right into the drama of the case, Judge Lauren asked Mr. Burgess how frequently their sexual adventures occurred. He claimed it wasn't a lot, but Ms. Simmons called him a fat-ass liar.
How often did you have sex, Ms. Simmons?
We was always having sex.
That's not true, Your Honor. When I met online, I talked to her once or twice. I got her number, and we went from there. And she came over maybe once or twice.
You a liar.
Started three times probably a week for up to between 2 to 3 months.
No, you a liar. I was over there almost every day.
From Ms. Simmons' confession, they seemed to be kicking it in bed a lot. Now, while Ms. Simmons was dropping her truth bombs, she claimed anytime they had sex, the condoms were always breaking. So, Judge Lauren decided to ask Mr. Burgess why he felt he could not be the father. And this was his response.
Sex with her, and she says the condom was continuously breaking to the point where you all just stopped using them. How is it that you can definitively say that you are not Malachi's biological father?
He only saying it because she here.
No, I ain't saying that.
So you believe, Ms. Simmons, that he's just saying this to protect the relationship, to try to save the relationship?
Like he only doing that because at the end of the day, first of all, he was like, oh, we don't need no DNA test.
Well, at least he was honest. Anyway, after Mr. Burgess was done explaining his doubts, Judge Lauren then asked Ms. Simmons if she had told Mr. Burgess about the pregnancy the moment she found out.
The man asked me, even though we was having sex at the time, he was like, I want you to have my baby. I want to have a daughter because I already have a son. And I want you to have my daughter because I'm a lie. You's a lie.
She's lying.
No, you's a lie. So anyways, the day I took the pregnancy test, I had sent him a picture of the 2 pregnancy tests I took. So he was taking too long to respond, so I had called him. And when I spoke on the phone with him, I was crying because I was like, I'm just starting to get into my life. I was going to school.
Did he just say he didn't know her real name? Oh, come on, Mr. Burgess. I don't believe that for a second. When he found out about the baby, as you would expect, he was going to accept the child. He told Ms. Simmons that the baby could not be his and that she needed to find the real father.
I said, I was like, who baby that is? That for real? I was like, that ain't my baby. I said, we're gonna have to find out. You know what I'm saying? That's what I told her. Because, I wasn't finna take care of no child that ain't mine. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you ain't taking care of him now.
He's
yours, so.
Real talk, I wasn't finna take care of nobody else baby if it ain't mine.
Were you supportive during the pregnancy?
I wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there at all. He left after I told him that I was pregnant. A month later, he was gone.
She didn't have a phone.
Gone.
If we're being honest, that's not surprising. I mean, he doesn't want to be the father, so why would he stick around? The drama was getting very intense, and Judge Lauren felt she needed to hear from Mr. Burgess's fiancé. When she walked to the podium, this was what she had to say.
How did you find out about Miss Simmons?
I found out about her
through his phone.
I went through his phone. He came to Alabama to visit me one weekend. But I noticed the whole time that when he was there, his phone was off. So it came to the point to where we had to take him to the bus station to catch his bus to get back to Atlanta. So he had to charge his phone up. But as soon as it comes on, 2 text messages pop up. He ended up falling asleep.
The fiancé and baby mama get on the phone. That never goes well in any situation. After his fiancé had a conversation with Ms. Simmons, she decided to confront Mr. Burgess about the situation, and that did not go well either.
My cousin been using my phone, so it's probably somebody he know. I called from my phone first. She didn't answer.
Okay.
So I called from his phone. I asked her who was she and what was going on between her and Chris, and she went to the fact of, man, you tripping. What you worried about it for? Ask him. So I said, no, I
That's
called
who your
you.
relationship with.
So I said, no, I'm gonna ask you. So I guess she hung up, but any kind of wish.
Mr. Burgess is in the hot seat now, that's for sure. In no time, baby mama and the fiancé get into a brawl, and trust me, it's not a nice one. Mr. Burgess's fiancé tells the judge that she told Mr. Burgess that the baby was his, but Ms. Simmons called her a liar, and this is how it played out.
Petition this court for the paternity because of the fact that Chris and I kept telling him that this is his child.
No, you
regardless
didn't.
of what
No, you didn't.
You don't know what I tell him.
No,
you don't know what I
know
tell
what you
him.
sent to my phone.
That's what I sent to your phone, but you don't know what I tell
well, at the
this
end of the
man.
day, don't say
I've been
lie.
with him. I've been with him.
Okay,
I know this.
Obviously, we
She
both
can't tell
been
me-
with him.
She
I'm
can't
just the one
tell.
with
She
the
can't
child.
speak on nothing.
Let's see if her decision to marry Mr. Burgess still stands if the baby ends up being his child. Anyway, the DNA results are sitting pretty with the judge, and the truth is ready to be unleashed. Let's see who the father of the child is.
Mr. Burgess, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Miss Simmons, don't clown. Don't clown.
I'm sorry.
Don't clown.
I'm sorry.
When Tanika was born, another man was on her original birth certificate as her father, not my husband. Miss Jackson was married at the time.
I got married, but I got it.
She
my
was
husband
still
got it
married.
alone because he went to Georgia and got married to another woman.
After 30 years, Mama Davis revealed to her daughter Wandick that the person she had thought to be her daddy was not her biological father. This revelation has caused Wandick to keep her distance from Haggerty, the father. However, Haggerty disagrees with Davis and claims that she is lying. But why does Haggerty think so?
When she first got pregnant, she said I was the dad, and after 29 years, I come to find out now that I'm not the father.
You've raised this beautiful young woman, and you've thought of her as your daughter and nothing else.
For the whole 29 years, yes, Your Honor.
And Miss Wandick, you felt the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the man you always knew to be daddy.
Yes, Your Honor.
How can someone be this insensitive? She doesn't even look apologetic one bit. Thankfully, Wandick is not as cruel as her mother. She addresses the court and points out the unfairness of Davis's actions.
Excuse me, Your Honor. She's saying that he was just a playmate, but how is that fair to this man and to me for her to be saying that he's just a playmate when from jump you led this man to believe that he was my father the whole 29 years of my life?
That's a lot of issues this Davis woman has caused. But Wandick was not done. She continues to express her hurt, wondering why Davis would lie to her for almost 30 years if she truly loved her. This is even more painful because Wandick had developed a tight bond with Haggerty.
Haggerty was a wonderful father to me. Like, I was in and out of the system, and he'll come pick me up from my foster care home, take me around to his side of the family, which is, they're awesome. He's just been an outstanding dad.
Right. This new witness, Carolyn, who is Davis's sister, appears to be on Haggerty's side. She claims that Davis never spoke of another possible baby daddy, and everyone in their family was assured that Haggerty was the father. So, when did the question of paternity start to rear its ugly head? Let's hear from Wandick.
When I really found out things was I was at a sibling's house, and this other man came up to me and he started crying, and I'm like, whoa, why are you crying? Like, who are you? I don't know you. Why are you crying? Why are you looking at me just crying? And he was like, you don't know who I am? He was like, I'm your father.
All of this information comes as a shock to Haggerty. Ever since the other man came into Wandick's life, she claims that she started having doubts about Haggerty being her father and distanced herself from him, which Haggerty noticed. You wouldn't believe this when I say it, but Wandick hasn't seen Haggerty for the past 9 years.
The last time I seen him was about 9 years ago.
9 years?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Davis, as you're listening to this and you're hearing your daughter, I see the tears in your eyes, you're hearing your daughter speak about her hurt.
The thing about it...
This is wild. The other guy was at the hospital even on the day of Wandick's birth. So how did Davis manage to rope Haggerty into the equation?
Explain it to you, Your Honor, because I wanted a baby by Mr. Hag so bad. So bad I had 4 miscarriages by him.
So you lie?
4 miscarriages. So I put Nicole on him. But I know who the father is.
Chile, this is unbelievable. All because you want to have a child with someone by all means? You go as far as lying that he is the father of a child you had with another man? That's borderline ridiculous. Meanwhile, Haggerty has always been so proud to be Wandick's father, despite having no legal claim that he is.
So the truth is, your commitment to this young woman was truly about love and about the belief that you were her father, even though you had no legal claim.
Yes. And before she went into the system, she was staying with me.
Yeah, yes.
They came to my house.
Ah, that's cute. Then we have Davis, who tries to ruin this beautiful family due to her selfishness and lies. But it doesn't even end there. It turns out that Davis only started to pin paternity on the other man when she found out that he was rich.
What do you believe was your mother's motivation for creating this type of paternity saga?
Money. When this other man accumulated all this money, that's when she would say, that's who really your dad is. You need to get some money from him.
Whoa, where did that come from? This is getting worse, and the only way all parties can move on from it is with the DNA test result revelation, which we're about to find out now.
Mr. Haggerty, you are not the father. Miss Wandick, are you okay, honey?
Something that could have been settled 29 years ago.
It's okay, I'm gonna be there for you.
My oh my, this sucks. But I'm glad that Warwick is surrounded by people who love her so much, even though she isn't their daughter. And just like the judge said, that's a big blessing.
But you stepped in, and I think you're surrounded by your limitless blessings. Because this love that you're experiencing, I don't think you've ever really had the opportunity to just experience this love in this way.
Hodges denies being the father of Willard's 1-month-old baby, Lillian, despite his ex, Willard, saying otherwise. Hodges refers to Willard as a liar and a cheater because he had caught her in several compromising situations.
Cheated on me, and I caught her with multiple guys. She had one hidden in the room, and whenever we first got together, she said that she would never hurt me or cheat on me. She would be truthful, and yet she's lied to me left and right.
Damn, I can already smell the mess brewing up. That, too, is from people who haven't even been past 20 years. While Hodges was explaining how he and Willard got together, Judge Lauren pointed out the fact that Hodges' mother was the one who prompted her son to open the case. But why?
Because I knew that she had been cheating on him. He had caught her with another guy that she said was a friend, but yet he was hidden in her house when my son got there.
You found him hiding in the house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hiding in the house where?
In her mother's bedroom.
But Your Honor.
Did you help hide?
What was that? First, it was about hiding another guy in her mother's bedroom while she was engaged. Now she was married while she got engaged to Hodges? Nah, this is wild. I think you'd need more insight about this new revelation.
Mr. Hodges, but you were married to another guy at the time?
Yes, Your Honor. I feel like he has been deceived and took advantage of.
What was your first impression when you met Ms. Willard? What did you think?
I thought she was sneaky. She always kept her phone on her. She never let him get a hold of it, and when she was on it and he would come around, she would hide it.
Oh, it's about to go down. I wonder what those messages entail, and I'm sure you are curious too. So let's find out.
Ms. Blevins says, I do understand my son was engaged to her and caught her cheating. The other man says, we got together on June 2nd of last year. Ms. Blevins, you say, let me check the date, give me a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Blevins, you say together, August split up a few times.
But the revelation did not end there. Willard's mother tried to defend her daughter, saying that this other guy only typed those things to Hodges' mother because he wanted to be with Willard. When the judge tried to get things straight, another bomb was revealed.
Lily,
Yes, that's when she
Is
left.
Lillian your only child?
No, Your Honor. She hid that from us too at first.
Back it up, back it up. So she hid that she had a husband before she met you, and you were engaged to her when she really already had a husband. She hid that she had had a child.
Okay, I have had enough. What in the name of sneaky is going on with Williard and her mother? How is it possible that you would only inform the supposed father when you're 8 months into the pregnancy and also have him believe you were going for a doctor's appointment when in fact you have already had the baby? This is too much, but let's keep going.
May 27th, Ms. Hodges writes to Ms. Willard, how's the baby doing? Ms. Willard says she's okay, her lungs aren't fully developed right now. And then you write, and when is she due? And you write back, Ms. Willard, I don't know, Doc is showing me a different due date.
Way too much for her age at that. The judge asked her why she didn't tell Hodges about Lillian's birth. Initially, she said that it was because Hodges was married and that she didn't want to break up his marriage. But the judge wasn't buying it.
But you told him, I'm pregnant, 8 months. I didn't find out till I was 6 months. You told him anyway. So what is this about breaking up a marriage? You'd already told him you were pregnant.
Because I was with the other guy and I had been living with him for a while.
No shit, Sherlock. One thing no one understands is why Willard told all these lies. Curious, Judge Lauren asked her, and here is what she had to say.
What was the lie about? Was it because you wanted to be with the other guy, so you didn't want Mr. Hodge up there?
No, that's not why.
So
Your Honor,
what
she wanted to do a DNA test on the other guy first, just to make sure.
So she says. But even if she does look like Hodges, physical appearance is not enough to conclude true paternity. Meanwhile, the judge has a hunch that Willard has something more that she wasn't saying. So she tried to pry it out of her.
Do you have a reason or an understanding as to why you do tell all of the lies you tell?
You may be honest with you, he's married and I just wanted a family.
It's okay. You can take your time because I knew something was on your heart.
Willard claimed that even with this revelation, she still believes Hodges is her daughter's father. Well, we're about to find out that authenticity right now.
Mr. Hodges, you are the father. We have the answer we needed. And it was actually the answer all of you wanted. You okay, honey?
No, I'm fine.
I want to meet with you both in my chambers. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.
In this episode, there is a love triangle situation. Jackson claims that her ex, Dwight Brown, who is now married, fathered her 26-year-old daughter, Tanika. She also claims that Brown owes her a huge sum of child support. Meanwhile, Mr. Brown and his wife told Tanika that the former isn't her father.
Well, by Mr. and Mrs. Brown, they told me different stories that he might not be my father, but my mother always told me that.
And so why, after all these years, why do you reopen the child support case?
Because my husband don't want her.
It's still going on.
She's still
For
after my
26
husband.
years, it's still been going on.
Okay, there's already chaos, and we're just getting into the case. It appears that Jackson and Brown met and ended up in Brown's apartment. While they were there, Brown's girlfriend, Drusilla, now his legally married wife, caught them together. However, according to Jackson, she didn't even know that Brown was dating Drusilla.
They had broke up.
So you're at the apartment with him,
Yes, Your Honor.
having sex,
Yes,
unprotected.
Yes.
You say Miss Brown walks in.
Yes.
And you remember it being Miss Brown?
Yes.
Did you ask him why was she coming over here then while I'm at your apartment?
The second time Drusilla caught Brown and Jackson together was at her apartment, the same apartment Jackson spoke about earlier. So, what happened this second time? Let's hear from Drusilla.
After that, this was some months later, when I got to my apartment, I unlocked the door with the key. So at that point, I had a sliding walk-in closet. I heard my closet door slide open.
You could hear it.
Yes, ma'am. And I heard somebody grab the bed and went in the closet. I said, oh no.
My God, Drusilla can do way better than Brown's cheating self. Look at him staying mute since the court season began. Anyway, forget Dwight Brown. The judge wanted to get more information about Tanika's birth, so she asked Jackson to give the court an insight on it.
We moved to Albany, Georgia. Back and forth, he was telling me that he had to come to Jacksonville to take care of business, which wasn't no business, it was being with her.
Exactly right.
And then he
Exactly
came
right.
back one time. I told him that I had a miscarriage.
Okay, if that's the case, why is he denying Tanika's paternity? He has been on and off with Jackson for a long time, yet he still denies being Tanika's father. We must hear from the horse's mouth to understand his reason.
Well, Your Honor, I've seen too many things happen
Like one morning, I thought she was at work. Come find out, she was out with another man.
Well, was she supposed to be committed to you when you were committed to her?
Yes, we was kind of like staying together.
Oh, so at that point, you and Miss Jackson were living together?
Yeah, we were staying together.
Exactly. So I don't know why they're bringing the mess they call a relationship into this poor girl's life. She just wants to know if he's her father or not. Meanwhile, Brown has been enjoying having 2 women at his neck for years. He would have a quickie at Jackson's on Friday, only to leave in the evening of the same day to be with Drusilla.
And he'll leave that Friday evening and go and back to Jacksonville to her. Back and forth, back and forth, back and
When
forth.
he came to stay at my house, he stayed with me about 2 weeks. He said after he left me, he didn't even go home for another month.
Jackson added that on some days when Brown was going to the pool hall where he usually played pool, he would pick up baby Tanika and take her with him. When asked to confirm this, here is what he had to say.
That he didn't give her.
Yes.
So he said he did not sign her birth certificate.
So that's what I want to know.
No, he said I asked my husband over and over again, did you sign the birth certificate? When Tanika was
Your
born,
Honor, I don't know. I didn't sign no
let me tell you
paper.
something else that they didn't tell you, Your Honor. When Tanika was born,
Moving on, the document was provided as evidence to prove that Brown did sign Tanika's birth certificate, but as the certificate was given to the judge, Drusilla yelled that it was fake.
that it's a fraud. Her mama been lying to her, and she's sitting here and believing her.
So wait, on this birth certificate, it does say Dwight Stanley Brown.
He named
didn't
me
sign
and
that.
he spelled the name.
He was with me during the time
Spelled
that
my
birth
name and
certificate.
named me.
This
Now,
the
I
second
do
birth
not
certificate.
see a signature on this birth
Because he
certificate.
did.
Drusilla continued outlining the periods she had requested Jackson do a DNA test, which, according to her, ended up being futile. Drusilla added that she believes the only reason Jackson is requesting a DNA test now, after avoiding it all this while, is money. Meanwhile, Tanika tells the court that she requested the DNA test, not Jackson.
Wanted the DNA test because I got tired of going through this for 26
And
years.
her mama-
I can imagine,
27.
hun.
Her mama
And I've
can
been going
only
through this
imagine.
triangle for 26 years now, and I'm very tired. I don't care about what they went through. I care less. I just want to know if he's my father.
Miss Jackson, why not get it over with so she doesn't have to be 26 years old?
Brown and Drusilla claim that the signature on the document isn't Brown's. And yet, when he was asked to sign on a paper, the judge realized that both signatures looked similar.
Remember, you're under oath. I want to know the truth. I'm looking at these 2 signatures, and they are very, very.
No, Your Honor, I didn't sign.
Yes, you did, Honor. Yes, you did sign that signature.
Do you remember executing a series?
If you're wondering that cascaded into another argument between Drusilla and Jackson. But at this point, it's already tiring for me, much less for Nika, who is clearly pregnant. So we're all ready for the results. Let's see what it says.
Mr. Brown, you are her father.
Thank you, Jesus. Mama ain't got the lie.
And you knew that. You knew that. Are you all right, Tanika? No, he need to come over there and hug her.
On the verge of getting married and starting a new chapter together, this couple, Avant and Hatton, resorted to calling off the wedding due to paternity doubts. However, that's not the only thing that this doubt has ruined. The supposed baby daddy, Avant, also got a tattoo of the baby, Jamithia's name on his arm.
I've been in Jamithia's life since she's been born. When Miss Hatton told me she was pregnant, I asked her then, are you sure?
No, he did not.
I did too.
He didn't.
She stated yes. Who else would it be? Me and Miss Hatton eventually moved in together, and when we was living together...
Oh boy, things aren't looking good. We have a possible cheater, liar, and two-timer on our hands. Avant accuses Hatton of texting her ex that she loved and wanted to be with him, but Hatton denies it over and over until the judge gives her the opportunity to tell the court her own version.
When it came up to me being pregnant, I lived with my aunt. Jamal came over that day because we took multiple tests to figure out, okay, I am pregnant.
This other guy, was he in the picture?
No, he wasn't in the picture. He was around asking about the baby. Are you guys gonna let me come and actually go to the doctor since this is a possibility that I could be?
Okay, according to Hatton's timeline, she hadn't been intimate with anyone but Avant during Jamithia's conception period. She also added that when she found out about her pregnancy, Avant was the first to know about it. So when exactly did Avant start to have doubts about Jamithia being his?
And then I started to doubt more after I started hearing stuff from her family saying that she's not trustworthy, that that some of the stuff she say is not true. It came up a point that the doctor, the first OBGYN, had gave us a first due date. That first due date was July around the 14th.
The calendar Avant produced as evidence showed that the original due date was the 16th of July 2014 and was later moved to the 25th of August 2014. However, Hatton disagreed, saying that while the initial due date was indeed the 16th of July 2014, the revised date was the 25th of July 2014. Confusion set in, and so the judge decided to use a conception calculator.
Let me figure this out with my conception calculator. When do you believe you conceived Jamethia? What date?
In October, around like the 13th. It was weeks before my birthday because he said that he wanted me to spend my birthday with him.
And so you think...
So, that means Hatton was right. However, Avant maintained that the baby was supposed to arrive on the 25th of August. He claimed that Jamethia only came earlier due to, in Judge Lauren's words, some maneuvers that he and Hatton implemented.
You feel like the castor oil, all of the maneuvers you were doing to try to get the baby to come,
nothing was working,
made the baby come quicker.
Yes.
So
Not
you
true, Your
believe
Honor.
she really wasn't due until August.
Not true, Your Honor. My daughter at the 25th due date because she was small.
Right, by law, that means Avant is Jamethia's father. So if Avant had doubts about Jamethia being his daughter, why did he sign her birth certificate? Let's not forget that he also tattooed her name on his arm. But wait, there's a twist. Here, take a look.
When she was sitting in her car seat, she was smiling, cheesing real hard. He did a picture as well with him smiling and cheesing real hard and posted it. What do you think about my baby?
No, that is not
It
what
got
he
a
said.
lot of likes.
No,
on
no,
Instagram.
no,
It
no,
did.
no. That is not what he
To
said.
the point where Miss Hatton told me when I got home and I said,
Jamal
and I
was sitting
spazzed, and
right
I said,
there.
The emphasis on the likes, though, means Avant must really be hurt by it. It turns out that Avant and Hatton were together when the latter saw the picture on Instagram. Hatton showed it to Avant, who got extremely upset until Hatton told the other guy to take down the picture. What's more, Avant is concerned that people keep pointing out the similarity between this man and Jamethia, which fuels his doubt.
From the cheekbones to the nose, even people that commented said the same thing. I have my reason for having doubts, Your Honor.
When you're in a committed relationship with somebody or you're engaged to them or you are about to marry this person, there's no need for you to get a DNA test every time you have a child.
Hatton adds that it was the ex who came to her house with his friend, not the other way around. But Avant disagrees and tells his version of what the said man told him.
A friend of hers had came around and spent time with her, and the girl eventually went over to this dude's neighborhood and seen him. And he said, and this is what he told me, he said, why are you bringing her to see me now? And you ain't brought her by and she done been alive this whole time.
After that statement, Hatton provided a picture of Jamethia and Avant to prove they look alike. She points out their dimples, ears, and hairline, claiming they have these similar features, but Avant disagrees. At this point, we've heard enough testimonies. Let's find out what the DNA result says, shall we?
Mr. Avant, you are not Jamethia's father. I'm very sorry, Mr. Avant.
It's not, man. It's not all right.
Yes,
I've been there.
It's all right.
It hurt.
It's all right. I'm sorry. I don't want to see you cry. I don't want to see you hurt. Nothing like that.
Her mother slept around.
You was a liar.
Your mother did sleep.
Okay,
first of all, neither one of you all was in there when it started, okay? She had 3 kids before I met her.
Okay,
she had you 3, supposedly had you 3 with me, and now she has, how many more after me? I get a grand total of 13.
Two sisters, Janita and Cheryl Rubin, have known Johnny Davis as their father, but now he denies being their biological father, a statement the sisters believe is born from greed. What exactly is the story here, and most especially, why is Davis denying the paternity of these grown women?
He always denied me. He always treated me differently. I just feel like he never treated me fair. With my brother and sister, he will bring things around like one Christmas, he bring a whole bunch of toys around, get them toys on top of toys, and then tell them, oh, play with your sister.
Loving other children and ignoring the other? Now, that's not a good look on Davis. The sisters have said their piece. Let's find out what Davis says regarding the accusations against him.
I'll tell you why, Your Honor.
Yes, please.
The reason why I treated Cheryl the way I treated her, because her mother slept around.
You was a liar.
Your mother did sleep. Okay, first of all, neither one of you all was in there when it started, okay? She had 3 kids before I met her. She had you three, supposedly had you three with me.
Chile, the session hasn't even started fully, and there's so much chaos already, but you haven't even seen anything at all. It turned out that Davis was an absentee father and never even discussed the paternity doubt with the mother of these girls. At the same time, the judge was trying to understand why Davis did this.
I need to know from you whether you ever were in all of their lives as a father. Were you ever just there?
No. Were you talking to me?
I was talking to you.
Then shut up.
Now no.
You shut up.
Mr. Davis, first of all, I control the score.
Oof, I like when Judge Lauren is on a roll. But back to the main question. Why would Davis acknowledge 2 of 3 little children? What kind of anger could be brewing inside him to make him act that way? Let's find out.
Whether or not that child was yours.
Exactly.
But then you'd end up back in the relationship.
We seesaw back and forth together.
Only to have another child.
I don't even know if that child's mine either.
Then you question if it was yours.
Right. After my first child, like I said, when I met her, and she had 3 kids before I met her.
It hurts so much to watch your siblings be cared for while the only thing you ever get is constant disappointment. But there's one thing the judge still doesn't understand, and neither do I. Davis talked about him and the girl's mother sleeping around throughout their relationship. So why exactly did he single out Cheryl when the other kids could, as a matter of fact, also not be his?
So much difference when it comes to Miss Rubin. Cheryl, why so much difference when it comes to her?
As I explained to you before, Anna, I had my doubts because their mother slept around, not only on me, but before me.
Why do you act that doubt out? Why is it that your doubt is projected onto her
singly? I treated Jonathan and Janita, I actually embraced them.
There is something Davis isn't saying. Either that or he is just being a nasty person on purpose. Even the judge can't seem to figure out what his problem is. She had to call the plaintiff's witness, Jonathan Rubin, who is Cheryl and Janita's brother, to give his testimony.
As far as me hearing about this DNA test, it surprised me because you asked for a DNA test and you claim I'm yours, you know what I'm saying? And then I hear that it's about disease in the family. Why would you wait after 27 years just to come to me with this? It's something you should have told me on the phone through something. Let me know what's happening.
That's new. What exactly does Jonathan mean by this revelation? Davis wants to shed more light on it, so let's hear him out.
Here's what I mean by the disease in the family. I want my kids, if they are my kids, I want them to be protected. But I at least want them to know exactly what could be coming their way, okay? I lost my father to prostate cancer. I lost my mother to septic.
So there are various illnesses in your family, and you are concerned.
I'm concerned for my kids because, like I said, my daddy died of prostate cancer.
Now, that's the problem. Davis is not bothered by any illness history. He is concerned about how being a dad has affected his pockets, especially now that he owes so much child support. Even Judge Lauren caught on after she saw his enormous debt.
Is this whole issue with you and the DNA test and wanting to know whether or not you're really their father, is this really about the illnesses or is this about this huge child support debt?
It is both. It is both. Regardless of what they want to say, and neither one outweighs the other.
Moving on, while Davis treats Cheryl unfairly, his wife showers her with love and, according to Cheryl, also tells Davis to quit his mean actions towards the poor girl. But that is not the issue here. At this point, we need to know if Davis is Cheryl's biological father so this charade in court can end.
The point of it is they take it. I've been married to Johnny 22 years. Never an income tax check has came into our house. It goes to y'all. I don't know where. I filed with my husband, with my 3 children that I have. They took it.
1 cleared, 2 more to go. I'm really curious about Cheryl's result, and I'm sure you are too. So let's find out. But first, Janita's.
As it relates to Miss Janita Rubin, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Davis, you are the father. So this can be a laughing matter maybe to you, but in the case of Cheryl Rubin, this court has determined that you are her father.
You already knew that.
It's quite difficult to accept the paternity of a child whom you think was conceived before you met their mother. This is the situation between Burns and Jarquin, whereby the former strongly believes that the latter was pregnant before they got intimate and only wants to trap him. Burns' words, not mine.
Mr. Burns, you state Ms. Jarquin was already pregnant when you met her, and that is the reason she slept with you on the first day you met, because she wanted wanted to trap you. So, Ms. Jarquin, you say Mr. Burns has done nothing for Myvan?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Yikes, Burns already started on the wrong foot. It looks like he just wants to Netflix and chill and not take responsibility for whatever it results in. At this point, Miss Jarquin's brother swooped into protective brother mode, and the judge had no choice but to allow him on the podium.
What is your testimony, sir? What are you saying?
I'm saying that I've been with my sister 24/7. I was there since she met him. And ever since they got together and I found out that she was pregnant, she said it in front of him. So he been knew she was pregnant because he moved in with us. But yet I seen her taking care of him. She will buy things for him all the time.
Whoa, Diaz seemed quite pissed even since Myvan was born. Diaz has been the father figure in the baby's life and supports his sister whichever way he can. He has sacrificed a lot, things Diaz wishes Burns could have done as a responsible father.
And I found the money and I got her car. And because of that, yes, I lost my truck, but it was a good sacrifice because at least she has something for my nephew. So I don't mind taking a taxi every day as long as I know she's doing okay. So that's sacrifices that I wish he would do, but he doesn't want to do it. Well, you know what? I told him, worry about it. You got me. I'm happy to do it.
Interesting. Jarquin added that when she and Burns were first intimate, they never used protection, which Burns acknowledged. So if he knows this, why is Burns strongly denying the paternity of little Myvan?
And we had sex that night, you know.
All right, July 6th.
You know, and everything was cool. You know, she invited me to stay. You know, I stayed, and a couple weeks later, on the 27th, she tells me that she's pregnant 3 weeks. My first thought was, dang, that was quick. You know, she must have already been pregnant.
Okay, Jarquin needs to answer some questions now. How is it possible that someone she met 10 weeks prior is responsible for a 12-week-old pregnancy? Something is not adding up. However, Burns has simplified it for us by informing the court of another possible baby daddy, Jarquin's boyfriend.
And plus, she had a boyfriend when I first met her.
So when you first met her, she had a boyfriend?
Yeah.
So when you count back the 12 weeks from September 14th, 12 weeks and 6 days is pretty much 13 weeks.
Right.
On and on, the argument between these two continued, but it still did not make sense that Jarquin would have been 6 weeks pregnant like she said, or even 4 weeks, and Burns, who she had just met, would be Myvan's father. Due to all of these calculations, Judge Lauren accepted Burns' testimony. However, Burns still has another doubt. Let's see what it is.
My other doubt is, I knew she was having other partners, sex partners, you know.
How do you know this?
It was 2 other guys who at the job who I know, you know, personally. I actually spoke with them too. That
Who?
they slept
That's
with
what
her.
I want to know is who?
They slept with her.
Who? They told you this?
Yes.
Things are getting hotter in the courtroom. Jarquin reveals several pictures that Burns took of himself and Myvan, proving that Burns knows that he is Myvan's dad. In his defense, Burns claimed that he only took those pictures so that he could confirm if Myvan had any resemblance to him.
I was taking pictures so I can confirm.
Why? That's not your son.
I was taking pictures so I could see if he looks like me for myself, because everybody else says that, you know, okay, he looks like me, but to me, you know, he doesn't.
So far, Burns has made very strong defenses. The judge has had enough, so she invites Miss Nobles, Burns' current girlfriend and the mother of his children, to the podium for her testimony. Let's see what she has to say.
What testimony do you have to add to this?
Apparently, she has doubts as well, because when we talked about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we met in person, and she said, if it is his, I just want to take full custody. I want to put him on child support. I don't want him to have anything to do with the baby.
Well, this is getting tearing, especially with the back and forth. Jarquin expresses her frustration, explaining everything she has gone through to ensure her son and 3 other kids are all provided for. Here is a tape she submitted to the court regarding that.
Things have been really, really hard for me financially. It hurts me to know that I'm coming home to face reality, basically. His father's out there doing what he does, and I'm over here wondering, how am I going to get diapers? How am I going to be able to afford the milk? Am I going to be able to get him what he needs?
It is a whole lot to take care of a child single-handedly. Thankfully, the results of the DNA test are in. If Burns turns out to be Myvan's father, then Jarquin can get the proper child support her child deserves. Let's find out what these results read, shall we?
Mr. Burns, you are the father.
I know now, you know, and I'm gonna treat him and I'm gonna love him, you know. I'm gonna be there for him as long as she let me.
two youngsters dabbled into the act of baby making and are now in a messy situation regarding the true paternity of little Ava. While the mother, Middlebrooks, ascertains that Portis is the baby daddy, the latter begs to differ, saying that Middlebrooks only wants to ruin his life.
Mr. Portis, you and your mother have petitioned the court for a DNA test because you are certain you are not the father of the defendant's daughter, Ava.
Correct,
You
Your
say your life has been ruined and need today's paternity results to set the record straight. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Portis put himself in this situation because of his absenteeism, no doubt. However, he claims that he had tried to get another DNA test done, in fact, at Judge Lauren's court, but that also didn't go through. But whose fault was it this time? Let's find out.
But after that happened, we had tried to get it all situated out by trying to get 2 tests done with this court.
I can actually look in my court records and see you had a court date on my docket for last year. Ms. Middlebrooks didn't show up.
No.
Just like that, the chaos began. Portis told the court that his doubt stems from the fact that Middlebrooks had another boyfriend back then, which Middlebrooks denied, saying that he was someone she had been with before meeting Portis. However, Portis still wasn't convinced that was the truth, especially after he found out she had written a letter to this man.
Okay, wait, how did you find out she had another boyfriend?
Because I looked on her Facebook and I seen her with this dude. And I'm like, who is this? And then she like, somebody I used to talk to, but he was still in the picture.
How did you know that?
Because of, after she got pregnant, a letter she sent them.
We'll slowly get to the bottom of this situation, especially after the involvement of an actual grown-up, Middlebrooks' aunt. She explains to the court how she learned about Middlebrooks' pregnancy. Here, listen to what she has to say.
Your Honor, I took her to the hospital. She found out she was like a month pregnant. The other guy that they talking about, a letter did go out to him and she told him that she was pregnant and he's not the father. We didn't know anything about this guy here. We only knew about the other guy at the time.
Well, that was unnecessary, but again, we're dealing with youngins here, so it's expected. Portis claims that while Middlebrooks did inform him about her pregnancy, he had doubts about being the father from the get-go. So, because of this doubt, Portis was never involved in things like doctor's appointments and was never present the day Ava was born.
He had the opportunity to, but he wanted nothing to do with her.
Did you go to doctor's appointment?
No. He had nothing to do with the pregnancy.
She wasn't communicating with my family at all. She wasn't talking to us or nothing like that. Every time she would talk to us, she would be disrespectful.
Or any of that. She was not even
That's the
talking
only
to
time
my
she would
son.
talk to us.
Just when I thought things were getting clearer, the X popped up, and there is now another unnecessary chaos. Middlebrooks' disrespect toward Trent, Portis' mother, is becoming too much. So, the judge had to step in and address this behavior.
Your son wanted nothing to do with me or the pregnancy.
All that.
You do not know. You're not your son. I'm not communicating with you. I'm communicating with your son.
I'm his mom, though.
You're not being truthful.
Ms. Middlebrooks,
Disrespectful.
I realize that you may not agree with Miss Trent, but you have to understand that when you are dealing with someone who's your elder,
The judge asks Portis to tell the court why he never attended any of the doctor's appointments and wasn't there during the child's birth. What he had to say about that was quite shocking. Take a look at this.
why didn't you go to any doctor's appointments? Why weren't you there at the birth? Why?
Her ex that she was dealing with had contacted me on Facebook.
And what did he say? Now I'm starting to understand what's happening here.
He was
what
like,
happened?
He was basically saying like, yo, Brian, Jasmine, does she have you on child support and stuff like that? And I'm like, yeah, she does. She's been having me on child support.
Things are starting to get clearer now. When Middlebrooks' aunt asked her who the baby daddy was, she told her it was the other man Portis spoke about. Worse, Portis claims that Middlebrooks told him that he isn't Ava's father, yet she was collecting child support from the poor guy.
She ever tell you you were not the dad, Mr. Portis?
Yes, Your Honor. She told me that I wasn't the biological father. She told me to stay out their life. Don't talk to her. Don't be in Ava's life.
If you're gonna jump in and out, you might as well stay away.
Therefore, I stopped talking to them. I don't talk to them. I don't do none of that.
You've never even brought the baby around.
But she still wanted my ching-ching from me.
How is this even happening? Something is fishy with Middlebrooks because she claims that Portis is the father and is collecting child support from him. Yet she never allowed him to see the baby more than 4 times in 2 years. You would think she would feel remorse for her actions, but she is still yapping at Portis' mother.
With all of this drama, there's still a very real possibility you're Ava's father.
Yes.
And if you're not, you may not be able to get yourself off child support because you may have waited too long. That is the court's decision.
Anyway, all parties involved need clarity on whether Portis is Ava's father. That said, the next thing on the agenda is to reveal the DNA result. Let's see how that goes.
Mr. Portis, you are the father. You are Ava's father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That is your beautiful little girl.
Appreciate it.
What do you feel, Miss Middlebrooks? Can you tell me?
Brown is at the court to prove he is the father of the defendant's daughter, Jira. Paternity had never been an issue for a couple of years, as Brown had always known Jira to be his little girl. However, the defendant, Miss Lever, claims Jira is not his. Why does Brown strongly believe that Jira is his?
Mr. Brown, you say you have always believed you were the biological father of the defendant's daughter, Jira Lever. You have loved her and taken care of her, but now the defendant is denying you are Jira's dad. You are hoping today's results prove your case. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Meanwhile, Brown tells the court that wasn't always the case. He states that at the beginning, the question of paternity was non-existent, even though several people told him that he may not be responsible for Lever's pregnancy. He never had to doubt her because, according to him, he and Lever were always together on the days that he was home.
There was no doubt in my mind that Jira was my daughter. She mentioned that I had been away, okay? But I do environmental work. And so I'm gone maybe 3 to 4 weeks, and then I'm home for a week. But during the time that I'm home, Miss Lever and I were inseparable. You know, we did everything together.
So that's where her doubt stems from. Lever buttresses her testimony by giving a breakdown of what she thinks was her conception period. Here, take a look.
Okay, so during the time that Jira was conceived, I was dealing with a family crisis. Also, my ex was also dealing with the same crisis. And so during that time, we bonded and we kind of rekindled things, and that's the time in which Jira was conceived.
Things are about to get messy here, but let's move forward. Brown tells the court what transpired on the 4th of July, a day Lever vividly remembers. However, she is still adamant that Jira is not Brown's daughter.
And you remember that specifically?
Yes, ma'am, she does too.
And Miss Lever?
Yes, ma'am.
You say, but Miss Lever says she was having sex with her ex inside the hospital.
In July?
When I got conceived, yes.
Anyway, Brown reinforces that he was never away the entirety of July 2011, debunking Lever's assertion. He claims he was around initially and only left for a few days between mid-July and the end of July. Yet, again, Lever disagrees with him.
Any part of that time in July were you away?
I mean, maybe after, because like I said, I go to work, and then I come home for like maybe 7 days, maybe 10 days, and then I'm back off. So during the time that I was there, we were intimate maybe the whole time I was there. But of course, maybe the middle of July or towards the end of July.
Lever admitted to telling Brown's family that Jira had their surname. According to her, she only said so because the plaintiff called Jira a Brown, so she just rolled with it. Lever calls Brown a manipulator and accuses him of all sorts of things. But despite all of this, both parties never broke up, which is confusing. In fact, they have another child together.
Miss Lever, and Jira is your ex's biological child. You all did not break up. You have a second child who's in question. Genesis.
Yes, ma'am. Can I say something?
Even when we broke up, Your Honor, we were still intimate. When she first got her car, she bought a brand new Camaro. She came and picked me up, and we broke the Camaro in, so to speak.
Oh, my God.
So much is going on here, but neither of the two of them is done yet. Lever raves about Brown's financial incapacity. However, he responds, saying that he takes a sizable weight off Lever's shoulders, especially when she is away doing other things.
Financially, I do come up a little light.
Come up a little,
okay?
all the way.
But if you remove the finances, I take care of those children. I pray with those children. I help those children with their homework. I bathe those children. I get the children dressed. I take them to school. She don't do none of that.
Well, it turned out that Genesis had no name listed as her father, but the surname Brown Lever. But whether or not the kids bear Brown's surname, Lever's issue is that Brown has never made attempts to leave her house after 8 years, something she badly wants him to do.
As I look at this birth certificate, Genesis Summer rapper, lyric, Brown Lever.
And Jair's supposed to be the opposite.
That's what you want.
That's not what I wanted.
So wait a minute, Miss Lever, you did give Genesis his last name.
Yes, ma'am. As I believe that he is her father, but it is a possible doubt.
Whew, that was a lot. These two have so much that they either need to work on together or go their separate ways forever. This chaos should not happen before the kids, or it'll affect them negatively, just like Judge Lauren said.
I can't solve all of your relationship issues in this hearing. What we are here for is for the children.
Yes, ma'am.
Genesis, Jaira, and most importantly, here to try to establish who their father is.
Yes, Your Honor.
They deserve to know that.
It's about time. Since these two started giving their testimonies, there has been nothing but argument and disorder. But at last, we have the DNA result to put it all to an end. If you're curious about what the results say, stay tuned, and you'll find out shortly.
Mr. Brown, you are the father. That's your little girl. Now, with respect to Jaira, Ms. Lever, you say he is not the biological father. Mr. Brown, you say you are. The results. Mr. Brown, you are not the father. You told him he's not the father.
I only told him that because he would not give back my child.
Why would he just have the baby?
He had the baby trying to take the baby so he can be with someone else. He used me, baby.
She watched too many Lifetime, Your
No,
Honor.
he used me, Your Honor.
Mr. Anderson cheated on his wife and is hoping that the baby she now has isn't his. Ms. Lima, the woman he cheated with, insists that Mr. Anderson is the biological father of her baby, Christina. She hopes that today's test will finally convince him to accept Christina as his own and build a relationship with her. All this heat is on Mr. Anderson because he knows that if the test confirms his paternity, his wife would leave him.
It all started from a Facebook message when Mr. Anderson was messaging me on Facebook. So we started being friends online for about 1.5 years. Then out of the blue one day, he called me and said, let's go out for dinner. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything, so why not? We went out to dinner and we got a hotel room that night. We had sex.
Your Honor. Just one moment, ma'am.
He we was planning a trip to go on a trip, so I couldn't make the trip, so I got on Facebook and I told him, I'm sorry, babe, I couldn't make the trip.
The spotlight is on Ms. Lima and reveals that she had no idea Mr. Anderson was married and had treated him like any other boyfriend she'd date. Surprisingly, Mr. Anderson doesn't deny any of her claims. What a guy.
I'm just sorry, Your Honor. I just want to say I'm sorry to my wife and my family and my kids.
I believe you are sorry.
Your Honor, it was a big mistake. And, I really want my marriage and I want my marriage to work. But
and I see your wife next to you, and I feel her pain.
Me and my wife, we had a bad, argument, and, and I decided to go out and take Miss Lima out one night, and me and her went out to, the hotel.
Well, if it had only happened that night, Mr. Anderson wouldn't be in court with his wife today. Incredibly, Mr. Anderson says this is exactly what happened. He says it was just one night, and then she texted him months later that she was having his baby. Mr. Lima says that's the biggest lie she's ever heard. What an interesting turn of events.
How often would you see Mr. Anderson?
We've seen each other for 2 years, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays.
Was it strange to you that you only saw him on Saturdays and Sundays, or you thought he was working during the week?
Not really, because I went to his house numerous of times, but
wait, excuse me. You went to his house numerous times.
Yes, I went to his house numerous of times, and I told her what was in her house, and I described it to her.
My God. Hold on. Mr. Anderson, where was your family when you would take this woman to your home?
Seems like Mr. Anderson is going to be telling a lot of lies in court today. A few moments earlier, he was talking about how he never saw Ms. Lima after that one time, and now he's taking her into his house? Anyway, Mr. Anderson says Ms. Lima is just looking for a way to take his money, but fair enough. He was also looking for something not too morally right when he texted her. That we can agree on.
Let me understand this. So you did sleep with another man during the window of conception during that time?
Correct.
And you were sleeping with both men without protection?
Correct.
So how did you finally get in touch with him?
Well, I got in touch with him later, we met up and we had sex again when I was around 4 months pregnant.
Okay.
No, Your Honor.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That didn't happen. She disappeared. Your Honor, I haven't heard from her in months.
So when she was 4 months pregnant, you didn't meet up with her?
So he did meet up with her. Anyway, let's see what Mrs. Anderson has to say about all of this. With all of the drama in court today, we can only hope that everyone goes home in one piece. Really.
Whole world it caved in. Like, are you serious? You know, this is my
because you all have
husband.
built a lot together.
A
You
lot.
have
A business. We've been through a lot, Your Honor. And just to
And
hear-
children?
5. Come on, like.
At what point did you hear there was potentially a baby?
She told me it was a baby. I asked him. Clearly, he lied to me because when I confronted him about it the first time, he told me they had sex one time.
That is so spot on, Mrs. Anderson. This wild revelation is already tearing her marriage apart. This sounds like a woman who has reached her breaking point and no longer wants to continue with the marriage.
Because
my
of
marriage
this.
is past on the line. I can't. And then he's sitting up here. First he said it's one time, now it's numerous of times. You understand? I knew it when she told me what was in my house, that it was numerous of times. And he kept lying. It hurts really, really bad. It hurts really, really, really.
Only thing one can hope to salvage this situation is the possibility that Mr. Anderson isn't the true father of the baby, and instead the child belongs to another man named Mr. Scott. Oh my. Both men are awaiting the DNA test results in court today. Now, Ms. Lima is asked about any other potential fathers besides Mr. Anderson and Mr. Scott. She firmly responds with a no. Okay, Ms. Lima, let's take a look at the test results.
We know this can be emotional. Let's all just try to keep calm. In the case of Lima versus Scott Anderson, as to whether Mr. Scott is the father of 1-year-old Christina. Mr. Scott, you are not her father.
You just stay right here.
Oh boy! If Mr. Scott isn't the father, then Mr. Anderson must be the father. Except there's something Ms. Lima isn't telling us. Only one way to find out. You did not see this coming one bit.
Pertaining to whether Mr. Anderson is the father of 1-year-old Christina. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, Your Honor.
You are not her father.
Oh my God.
This woman cheated on her husband and now keeps denying that the baby belongs to her side piece. Mr. Angileri had an affair with a married woman and now believes he is the father of her child. Ms. Vargas, on the other hand, claims he can't be the father, and that completely pissed off Judge Lake. Mr. Angileri stated this in court.
Mr. Angileri, you claim the defendant...
Your first and last name, then finding out he isn't yours because your girlfriend slept with another man on the same day. Mr. Woody is in court today, only to figure one thing out: if he is the biological father of Ms. Wilson's son. Now, Ms. Wilson reveals that she had been intimate with another man around the time of conception. Now we do not know who the true father of baby Woody Jr. is.
Well, I have a 3-year-old daughter already, so when I found out I was having a son, I was excited because what man doesn't want to have a junior, you know? So I got plans made, you know, I'm ready to go play baseball and basketball with them and, you know, all the stuff a father's supposed to do with a son. So I'm just ready, so I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
So you're already having the visions of...
The whole thing about Mr. Woody not being romantically involved with Ms. Wilson hits him like a ton of bricks. And now it's like he just realizes that there's a significant chance he might not be the boy's father. Oh boy, talk about a bombshell! It seems like things just keep getting more complicated. Well, isn't this a twist?
Got you all here today.
When I met Mr. Woody, I was walking down the street with my friend. We were drunk and we were going up to the store, and he was in the apartment complex holding, you know, with his daughter in a stroller, and he said, "You're cute." And I was like, "Oh, you're cute too." So we walked to the store and we walked back to my friend's house. We had intercourse.
Okay.
Well, talk about a roller coaster. Ms. Wilson tells the court that there was only one other man she was involved with during that time. And now this leaves either of them potentially as little baby Woody's father. And here's where it gets even more interesting. When Ms. Wilson discovered she was pregnant, she reached out to Mr. Woody right away. But guess who responded? Not him, but the girl he was dating at the time. Whoa!
The girl that I was dating was responding to the messages that she was sending me.
Jerome, let me see that. What evidence is this you're presenting?
I have a couple of pieces of evidence, and I got the picture of me and my son, and I have the messages from Facebook.
So this is a message from Davina Wilson. I'm pregnant, so I hope you know we're getting a DNA test when the baby's born, and I'm hitting you up with this child support. I'll see you in court.
As read.
What a text! Now everyone's on their seats to find out what Mr. Woody's girlfriend responded with. The message itself shows that something is up. Ms. Wilson is ready for a fight and will not hesitate to give it to him if he brings it on.
First message I got back was, I think he said the B word, you're lying or something like that. And I honestly thought it was him. And so when I got that message, Your Honor, I'm like, okay. So I basically went off like, all I want is your money, point blank period. So you wanna leave me in the cold, you wanna, let me get pregnant and do this by myself, then you gonna pay me some type of child?
After learning he could potentially be the baby's father, Mr. Woody didn't shy away. Instead, he returned to town and stepped up to the task, accompanying Ms. Wilson to ultrasounds, attending her doctor's appointments, and being there every step of the way. He even stayed by her side during the birth and cut the umbilical cord. But here's the thing, Ms. Wilson didn't extend the same message to the other potential father. What exactly was her plan, really?
While I was sleeping with Mr. Woody, I had sex with my boyfriend and everything. He was the last person I initially had intercourse with. So the last time I had intercourse, it was with Mr. Woody.
Okay, but you do know that it doesn't matter who's first and who's last. It's about the window of conception, right? Were they both in the window of conception?
Now the big question is, if they were both potential baby daddies, why did Ms. Wilson not tell the other guy that she could be having his baby? Yet another question now is, when did Mr. Woody start having doubts? Since he did all of this for the baby, he already believed he had a son that was completely his own. So, what changed?
Her sister, I'm at one of my friends' wakes. He had just passed away, so we at the wake or whatever, and I see her sister. I'm good friends with her son's father, so we start talking and whoop, and she comes up to me like, Mike, I think you should go get a DNA test.
Your Honor, that is a lie.
There's so much more to Mr. Woody's doubts. Apparently, someone tipped him off about the possibility of another father. How destabilizing that must have been. He was so attached to baby Woody, and then he was hit with that sort of news. Now, only the results can save us. Judge Lake is ready to reveal the results, and the court is ready to listen.
It comes to 2-month-old Michael Woody Jr. Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
What?
Jerome, will you please have her sit down?
Come up here and sit down.
Come on, baby.
So many women have fooled him in the past with a baby. This is the case of Mr. Wilson, but this time he has absolutely put his foot down. He refuses to be involved in any more shenanigans, especially with Ms. Dean. Very unlike most cases at paternity court, he brought up the case and took her to court on this basis.
And you've opened your case today to prove that Ms. Dean's 17-month-old daughter, Jakaya, is not your biological child. You say you moved her into your home, laid out the red carpet, only to find out she was rolling around with other men in your home. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, what a guy. Ms. Dean claims that he welcomed her daughter, 17-month-old Jakia, into the world, then completely switched up on her. He signed her birth certificate and everything too. Now, he's denying both mother and daughter and wants nothing to do with them. Yikes. However, this denial is hurting Ms. Dean and Mr. Wilson's relationship with baby Jakaya, apparently.
And lying, him and his family is lying because not only did we plan this baby, we had concessions. I had my period.
You had concessions?
We was literally getting down, doing things besides just...
Oh, that's a concession.
Yeah, a concession. Okay. So when I say we having a concession, I mean everything over and above.
Okay, so hold on.
So they have some history in the past and went their separate ways. But one day, Ms. Dean hit him up on Facebook, and they got chatty. That was when they became intimate and planned the baby together. He was desperate for a baby, and she was available. That's what happens when babies are planned, Mr. Wilson. The babies arrive.
To have this baby together.
Yes.
And so where did everything go wrong?
Her
if you
story
planned
was not
it...
consistent, the word she used. Yeah.
Okay.
It was not consistent as her storytelling.
Why
as
was
the
it?
truth kept coming about, the lies kept adding up to it.
All right, so take me
Your
to
Honor,
finding...
in your face.
Hold on. Miss Dean, when you found out you were pregnant, take me to that day.
I had my period in February. We conceived in March. You feel me?
He was present during her pregnancy. He was also present during the delivery. Mr. Wilson really wanted this baby, it would seem. It's such a shocker that he switched up on the baby like that. What could have happened between them?
Trying to build a relationship while she's pregnant. And in the mix of us building a relationship, she's getting bigger. She's whispering, I hear echoes. She's always in a different room of the apartment. And I'm like, why you never around the kids? Why? She said, I can't talk now because my ex is here. And why is he there 11 o'clock at night if the kids got school? school in the morning.
And he knew exactly what was going on. With that other guy, he just don't want to take responsibility and be a man and stand up.
Oh boy. Now who do we believe? Mr. Wilson, saying that she kept cheating on him even while she was pregnant? Or Ms. Dean, who keeps accusing him of lying? What a duo, really. Ms. Dean went on to add that he has not provided anything ever since she had baby Jakaya.
I didn't have doubt until she's told me I didn't have sex with him. He's just laying on the couch. Okay, I went with that. When I ran into him at the bus stop, I said, this is coincidence. Now I can man up and ask him face to face. What's the story in his end? If it add up to what she's telling me, then I have no doubts. But he said the complete opposite of what she's giving me. And I asked him, I said, is y'all having a child together? He's like, yeah. I said, what y'all supposed to be having? He said, a little girl. He went into details.
What a story. Now it makes no sense for all of this to have happened while Ms. Dean was pregnant with Jakaya. Mr. Wilson still went on to be present throughout the pregnancy and delivery. It does not make any sense for him to suddenly not be. Why would he just start being so nonchalant?
I'm gonna tell you why. When the baby was born, it was so light and bright. I was like, he's so dark, she's dark. There's no way he's the father. I still didn't have doubts until she called me on FaceTime with him on the phone. And they both confirmed that I wasn't.
And said
You
what?
was lying. I don't even
She
mess
was
with
like,
that man
bring me
like
back
that.
my baby, because I was like telling her I'm not, releasing her right now.
There you
She
go.
said, bring me back my baby. It's not your baby, it's his baby. Ah, like the Byron.
I said,
he was like, that's right, that's my baby.
What a woman. It's no wonder he switched up. Imagine collecting the medal for the world's best dad, then hearing the mother of your supposed baby with another man saying that the baby isn't yours. All of this happened over FaceTime too. Dang, what a woman. Mr. Wilson was traumatized too. He moved away, changed his number, and blocked her. Now he didn't see either of them for 17 months.
You have always wanted a baby, and I can see as you look at that picture, I can see how you just stare at it because you wanted to have a baby.
Yes.
And this baby was new life as you celebrated and had to say goodbye to your father.
Correct.
This meant something to you. Can you tell the
It
point?
was a chance for me.
Now, baby Jakaya meant so much to him. This man was so broken by that FaceTime call. In addition to all of this drama, he had just lost his dad. The grief, in addition to the stress from Miss Dean, was not too great for him. Mr. Wilson had always wanted a baby, so he was completely ready to have one. Looks like he just didn't find the right person to have said baby with.
Purpose because I was so attached to my father. I don't say stepfather, he was my father, and she knew all that, what I've been through, even in my past relationship. So I thought that she was willing to give me something that she kind of even regretted not giving me in the beginning of our relationship when we had history. And I didn't have no doubt that we planned this, it should have been that. But somebody was not committed and consistent, and it was not. I'm more gut feeling. It's almost like mama's baby's daddy maybe.
He respects the fact that regardless of how badly he wanted a baby, Ms. Dean did not ask to be here. Although he asked her about it before the baby was conceived, he now realizes that she must not have been completely in for it. All he needs to know now is if the baby is his or not, so that he will ask for his name to be removed from the birth certificate.
We all know where we are now. And this is just a ball of confusion, negativity, and dysfunction. I don't even know how y'all got together, much less decide y'all was gonna make a baby together, but we're here now, and we need to get these results. Jerome, I'm ready.
It's time for the verdict. Results are ready. Now, would Mr. World's best dad Wilson and Ms. Dean need to raise this baby together? Or would Ms. Dean have to go back to FaceTime Man and remove Mr. Wilson's name from the birth certificate? There's just one way to find that out. Judge Lake reveals the results of the paternity test from DNA Diagnostics.
You are not the father. Miss Faithful, stop.
Thank you, Jesus. I apologize for taking you through this, but I am going to find out who her father is, and I am going to...
You got to find out?
No, when I say find
You gotta
out,
find
I'm
out?
going to bring him on this courtroom like I did you at.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah.
Listen.
He might still be on the couch.
That's enough.
And here's a great dad.
Ms. Baylor had a brief sexual relationship with Mr. Childs, at least so she put it, and the result of the encounter was her daughter. At first, Mr. Childs accepted paternity and was open to being the father of her child. But that ship sailed when Mr. Childs' wife convinced him otherwise and said the baby could not be his.
Miss Allen, you say that after a brief affair with Mr. Childs, you discovered you were pregnant with your daughter, Ms. Baylor. You say Mr. Childs acknowledged paternity until his wife convinced him otherwise. You intend to prove that Mr. Childs is, in fact, your daughter's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Baylor was pretty direct. I'd give her that. She was asked why Mr. Childs was denying her and her baby, and her reply was sharp. She claimed he was denying her child because of his petty wife, and she had her hands wrapped all around his decisions. But Mr. Baylor came to the rescue in defending his wife.
His petty wife. She been doing that for years. She wasn't there when we were sleeping together or nothing. So I don't think she have anything to do with it.
So you're basically blaming his wife?
Yes.
She should blame herself, Your Honor.
What?
Why did it take you 20 years to figure out that you should get a DNA test?
Because I didn't need to go through the drama.
They both had different memories of how their sexual relationship started. Ms. Baylor remembered that she came over after a football game to spend some time with Mr. Childs, and that's when one thing led to another, and they ended up getting intimate. But Mr. Childs painted a whole different picture for the judge.
Then one day, I just came through after a football game, and he wanted to ride with me. And so we went on and had drinks or whatever, and then that's when we had sex.
Is this the night you believe you conceived after the football game and the drinks?
Yes.
Now Ms. Baylor found out she was pregnant. From her recollection, she claimed that when she found out about the baby, she told Mr. Childs that there was a possibility he could be the father of her baby.
I told him, I said, she may be your child.
You told him directly?
Yes. I told him, I said it's a possibility that she may
So
not
you
be
said
yours.
it is a possibility that she may not be yours.
Exactly.
So you acknowledge this doubt?
Yeah.
As I said, they both had different stories as to how they remembered the whole situation. Mr. Childs claimed when he found out she was pregnant, he reached out to her and asked her to get a DNA test done if she believed the child was his. After that, she disappeared and didn't even tell him when she gave birth.
I'll tell you what, if you're pregnant and it's mine, let's get a DNA test. We can go ahead and get this out of the way. Have no problem with taking care of her because she would have been my first. I don't see her again for months. Probably longer than that, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Allen, when Ms. Baylor was born, you didn't invite him to the birth?
No.
Did you invite any other man?
No.
There was a reason she had been quiet all this while. She was a loose cannon, believe me. Mr. Childs' wife was tired of listening to Ms. Baylor speak, so she decided to drop some truth bombs of her own in the courtroom, and they were not funny at all.
She remember me chasing her up and down the street, but she can't remember who fathered her child. Why am I living in her head rent free, but she can't remember who fathered her child? Furthermore, Your Honor, he's always been there for my children. So this little song and dance she doing, I'm telling the truth. Why would she? Okay, I think it's important to know too. When we met her daughter, the daughter told us that she had tested someone else.
The truth was starting to pop out, and all hands were pointing at Ms. Baylor to fill in the loopholes. Apparently, a man her daughter didn't know reached out to her and said he had a feeling she might be his daughter, and so wanted to get a DNA test just to confirm.
Ms. Allen, you say this person was never a consideration.
No, and I told him that, but he was insisting on it. I was like, that is not, I wasn't even messing with you back then.
So the bottom line is, Ms.
She don't know. That's the bottom line.
Allen, you have not had a DNA test with any of the other true potential fathers.
Ms. Baylor's daughter was one hell of a smart young lady. She wasn't going to wait around for her mother to tell her who her biological father was. It's not like she knew anyway. She reached out to Mr. Childs and spoke to him about her being his daughter. And the sweet thing was that he actually didn't deny her.
Would come to me like, you're my cousin, TJ's your dad. I'm like, I don't know who TJ is. Who is TJ? And I went about it myself. I found him on Facebook, hit him up, and I said, look, I don't know what's going on, but I do actually want to know.
And did I ever once deny you?
Nah, you never did.
Never once.
Mr. Childs was not a bad man after all. She actually made several efforts to meet Ms. Baylor's daughter when she was much younger. Well, guess what? He actually did meet her. But the problem was Ms. Baylor. She just wasn't being very truthful with her daughter.
I got in touch with Miss Baylor, and I told her that I wanted to meet Shy.
11 years ago, you would have been 9, Miss Baylor.
Yes, ma'am.
So you made an attempt to meet Miss Baylor at 9 years old.
Yes, ma'am.
But you weren't informed of any of this till you were 14.
No, ma'am. I met her. I sat down and talked to her at Miss Allen's house.
Well, it's time we brought the cartoons down on this plot twist. Wouldn't you say? It was time to find out the truth and know if the craziness was all worth it. The moment of truth is here, people. Brace yourselves for the results.
Mr. Childs, you are not the father. I'm very sorry, Miss Baylor.
It's okay, Your Honor. You know, at the same time.
It's okay, honey.
To the both of you for that, and we can move on.
That's fine.
For Ms. Lohman, a lot was on the line. She was hoping and praying that the results from the DNA test would reveal that her supposed husband-to-be was the father of her child. Mr. Mitchell, on the other hand, said that nothing would make him happier than finding out that he is actually the biological father of Ms. Lohman's daughter.
Ms. Lohman, you are in court today hoping and praying your fiancé, Mr. Mitchell, is the biological father of your daughter, London. And you and your mother are here to prove it. You say today's DNA results will determine the future of your family together. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
There was no denying it. Trust me, everyone could see it. The doubts about the paternity of the baby were causing so much damage to their relationship. I mean, they are supposed to get married next month, but with the way things are looking, that might not be possible.
London is not to become of Mr. Mitchell, then our wedding is going to be off, and that's going to, it's really going to upset me.
All right, and how is it affecting your relationship now?
Me and Mr. Mitchell, we fight all the time about, me telling Mr. Mitchell that London is his, and he will tell me, no, I don't think she is.
Here is where things start to get interesting. Ms. Lohman claims she was trying to help Mr. Mitchell get out of a horrible living condition, so she asked him to move into her house, and that's when their sexual relationship began. The crazy thing was, when they started being intimate, Ms. Lohman already had a boyfriend.
So he ended up coming to live with us, and I was really happy when he got away from that.
And so your relationship started while he was living with you and your family?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you single at that time?
No, Your Honor, I had a boyfriend at the time.
Ms. Lohman wasn't lying when she said he had a rough childhood. While he was growing up, he was abused as a child. He single-handedly raised his 3 sisters without having help from anyone. And so when Ms. Lohman showed him care and love, there was no turning it down.
And she said you had a very tough childhood. Is that true, honey?
Yes, ma'am. I was abused. I had to do everything for my family. I raised my 3 sisters and my brother basically by myself. It was hard.
I understand. So when you moved in with Miss Lohman, it was like finding a family, a real family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, when Ms. Lohman found out she was pregnant, she automatically believed she was his child. I mean, he didn't know she was intimate with Mr. Mitchell, even to this day. She then drops another truth bomb when she says at the time she believed her ex-boyfriend was actually the father of her children.
So when you found out you were pregnant, your ex believed it was his?
Yes, Your Honor, because at the time I also thought it was his.
Why did you think it was his if you knew you were also having sex with Mr. Mitchell?
At the time I was with him, so I wanted to make myself believe that it was my ex.
Why did she then start to believe Mr. Mitchell was the father of her baby and no longer her ex-boyfriend? Well, in her defense, she claims she remembered she had more sexual encounters with Mr. Mitchell than the ex-boyfriend. Well, that's not how it works, Ms. Lohman.
And I asked, do you have an estimate of when I conceived, because I can't tell you the exact date. And she told me I conceived somewhere between October 12th and October 22nd. And I got to looking back at the dates, and I had sex with Mr. Mitchell more times than I had sex with my ex. I had sex with Mr. Mitchell about every day and only once or twice with my ex.
Even with the doubts in his mind, he didn't back down from being a good father. He was with Ms. Lohman every single step of the way. The only problem was the doubts that just kept ringing in his head. He didn't want to father another man's child.
Yes,
and you're there when the baby's born?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you sign the birth certificate?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor. At the time, I was confused as to who the father was, so I didn't want to put anybody on the birth certificate except myself.
Okay, well, that's responsible. So you don't put anyone on the birth certificate, but you're still there for the baby, Mr. Mitchell.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. Will Mr. Mitchell end up being the father, or are they going to kiss their marriage goodbye in a few months?
Mr. Mitchell, you are not the father. Ms. Lohman, I can tell that was not the news you were expecting to hear. Are we certain? Is your ex London's biological father, or is there another possibility that we just have not spoken about yet?
No, Your Honor, there is no other possibility.
Mr. Woods felt like the luckiest man on the planet. Well, he was the luckiest man on the planet. He always wanted to be a father, and his girlfriend made that dream come true. His dreams came crashing down when Ms. James told him he wasn't the father.
Mr. Woods, you say your dream of becoming a father came true when the defendant gave birth to your 1-year-old daughter, Addison. But that dream became a nightmare when months after you became a daddy and signed the birth certificate, the defendant dropped a bomb and said you are not her father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. James dove right into it. Oh, trust me, it was a shocker to everyone in the courtroom when she said Mr. Woods wasn't the father. They were all in disbelief that she had admitted it. She claimed she told Mr. Woods, but he refused to believe her.
I'm here today to tell them that he is not the father, and I did tell him this before.
So it even hurts you because you know the bond they have established. You know how much Mr. Woods loves Addison.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you can see she loves him.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you're saying you have to come here to tell the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, some eggs are definitely about to break. Their relationship started with Mr. Woods being the shoulder to cry on for Ms. James. She cheated on her boyfriend with Mr. Woods. A couple of months after that, she called Mr. James to tell him she was carrying his baby.
So we didn't talk about it, and then 2 months later I was at work, and that's when she called me and said that she was pregnant, and I was the father.
Wow. So, Ms. James?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you use protection?
No.
So when you found out you were pregnant, you immediately called Mr. Woods?
Yes, but I told him that he was not the father, that it could be somebody else.
When she initially told her boyfriend that she was pregnant, he denied the baby and told her he wanted nothing to do with the child. Having no other option, she told Mr. Woods that he was the father of the child at the time.
He did not want anything to do when I told him that I was pregnant and it possibly could be his daughter.
The other guy?
Yes, Your Honor.
He didn't want anything to do with the baby?
No, yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Woods, you said you were excited. Once you found out you were having a baby, you started going to the doctor's appointments. What else did you do?
Mr. Woods was one sweet dad. He was there for everything. Through the birth and through taking care of the baby, he basically showed up every step of the way. He even signed the birth certificate. The question then remains, where did the doubt come from?
Because I did not want to leave her side or Aubrey's because she's in pain, so I stayed there the whole time. I called off
And
work
did you
just to
sign
stay
the
there.
birth certificate?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
You did. So, Ms. James, if you had these doubts, why did you allow Mr. Woods to sign the birth certificate?
Because he proposed to me and he knew that it was right to propose to someone if he wanted to take responsibility of the child.
Ms. James kept it a secret from him until 2 months after the baby was born that the child could possibly not be his own. Now that's just wicked. If you ask me, she definitely broke his heart with that statement.
Not till 2 months after she was born.
Not until 2 months after Addison was born.
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened?
We was living together at the time. We was still engaged, and we got to a big fight. And I walked outside, and she came out with me, and that's when she said that Addison may not be mine, that could be her ex.
It was a really sad day for Mr. Woods in the courtroom. When Ms. James's brother walked up to the stand, he couldn't deny how much Mr. Woods cared for the child. He even said he was the best father figure the child could ever need. That has to be the sweetest thing ever.
Addison, and he is a great father to her. And I just really wanted to make it a point to him and Mr. Woods here that the child support can be devastating, because I am in a position of that myself, and I would like to see my niece have a responsible, good father in her life, and have that father figure.
Well, the suspense is finally over, and the hassle of who the dad of their child is about to be revealed. It's been a bumpy and funny ride with Mr. Woods and Ms. James. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth. Get ready, paternity folks.
Mr. Woods, you are not the father. I'm sorry for him and for you and for Addison. Jerome, will you please go and see if you can get Mr. Woods to return to the courtroom and check on him, please?
I will. This is one epic church scandal that I promise you will never forget. Mr. House was in that courtroom to defend his name as he was being accused of fathering the child of a woman who was 28 years younger than him. Trust me, it was one hell of a case.
Who may have fathered a child with a woman whose babies coming into the world and a daddy going back and forth between houses. I'm just trying to I'm like watching a tennis match. I'm like, okay, now he over here. I'm not just being hard on you. I'm trying to uncover what's going on because it is your fault, but I want to know why. Why are you lying? What was the lie about? Was it because you wanted to be with the other guy? Let me try to translate this. When you were on the phone, she was trying to give you the one up that it may not be yours.
This one up that she should have gave me from the day he was born.
Let's just say a lot was hanging on the results from the DNA test in this episode. Mr. Hodges was in court with his mother to prove that he couldn't be the father of Ms. Willard's 1-month-old baby, and he had his proof to back him up. Ms. Willard was also in the courtroom with her own mother, and they wanted to prove that they were 1,000% sure the baby belonged to Mr. Hodges.
Mr. Hodges, you and your mom opened your case today because you both say the defendant is a liar and a cheater. You don't believe you fathered her 1-month-old daughter, Lillian Willard, and plan to prove that today. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Willard, you too are here with your mother, and the two of you testify.
Mr. Hodges wasn't just upset that there was a possibility the baby could not be his. He was quite upset that the woman he believed to be the love of his life was a pathological liar, and she would cheat on him with several guys on different occasions. But as you would expect, Ms. Willard denied his accusation and claimed he was wrongly accusing her.
Cheated on me, and I caught her with multiple guys.
she had one hidden in the room, and whenever we first got together, she said that she would never hurt me or cheat on me. She would be truthful, and yet she's lied to me left and right.
Miss Willard, you kept lying and you kept cheating?
No, I did not. Had a guy over at my house, yes. He was visiting because he was a childhood friend.
Now Mr. Hodges was asked what kind of relationship he had with Ms. Willard and how they ended up becoming a couple. His answer was nothing short of shocking. He claimed he met her after she had a one-night stand with one of Mr. Hodges' family relatives. He was trying to comfort her after she had an emotional one-night stand with the guy she claimed was a family relative.
I met him through a family member of his.
She had one night stand with him, and I was there to comfort her, and we talked for a week or so. And
oh, you met her after she had a one-night stand with another guy, and then she cried on your shoulder, and then you and she got together.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Blevins, I understand that you are the one who pushed your son to open this case.
Mr. Hodges was initially hesitant to drag Ms. Willard's ass to court to determine if he was the real father of her child. They weren't just throwing accusations, trust me. They had caught her in the act more than once. To make things even worse, Mr. Hodges and Ms. Willard were engaged, but before that, she had already been married, and Mr. Hodges had no idea.
They had broke up.
So why you have to hide anybody?
Because she didn't want him to know. She didn't want to hurt him. She didn't want to start no trouble because Harley's got a temper.
Well, we was engaged.
It was my understanding they had broke up.
So were you engaged or were you broken up?
We was engaged.
We were engaged.
So you were engaged, Miss Willard?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So now that makes more sense. When your fiance came in the house, then you hid this other guy in the...
Because I didn't want to fight to start.
And Your Honor, she was already married.
Well, it was time to throw in the evidence, and Mr. Hodges' mom came well prepared. Mr. Hodges' mom had some mind-blowing texts that revealed Ms. Willard's atrocities. It was no joke in the courtroom, trust me. All hands were pointing to Ms. Willard because it was obvious she was married while in a committed relationship with Mr. Hodges.
When Lillian was born at the hospital.
Do you have those messages?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me have those. Jerome, can you please bring me those messages? Thank you. Ms. Blevins says, I do understand my son was engaged to her and caught her cheating. The other man says, we got together on June 2nd of last year. Ms. Blevins, you say, let me check the dates. Give me a minute.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Blevins, you say together, August split up a few times.
If there was one thing Ms. Willard was very good at, it was the fact that she sure knew how to hide things from Mr. Hodges. First, she didn't disclose the fact that she was married before they started dating. Secondly, she refused to tell him that she was cheating on him with another guy, and now she had a child before her current baby, and she still didn't mention it to Mr. Hodges.
So she hid that she had a husband before she met you, and you were engaged to her when she really already had a husband. She hid that she had a child, and she also hid a man in her mother's house when you came over.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Hodges, take me to the day you found out Miss Willard was pregnant.
She called me and she said that she was 8 months pregnant.
Everyone in the courtroom could see why Mr. Hodges said he was very hurt when the court session initially started. Ms. Willard was actually a pathological liar, and the lies had gone on for just too long. Judge Lauren was no longer going easy on her. It was high time she started telling the truth and stopped playing with everyone's emotions.
This is too much lying.
I know.
This is just too much lying. Now, I heard about 5 lies already. What is going on? Why are you texting him like the baby isn't born when the baby is born?
Okay, he's married now, and I just didn't want to break up a marriage when he found out he had a kid by another person. That's it.
But you told him.
Well, there's no going back now. The situation is just very messed up, but the truth is about to be unleashed. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. All that was left was for the DNA results to be revealed and for this drama to come to an end. The answers lie in front of the judge.
Mr. Hodges, you are the father. We have the answer we needed, and it was actually the answer all of you wanted. I want to meet with you both in my chambers. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.
Mr. Cooper wasn't denying the fact that he had a relationship with Ms. Canterbury, but the issue here was that he wasn't going to accept the baby because he said he knew for a fact that he couldn't be the father of the child. He also claimed that Ms. Canterbury threatened to make him pay for child support. Ms. Canterbury, on the other hand, was beyond certain that results would prove he is the father, and he would have to step up.
Mr. Cooper, you admit to a brief sexual fling with the defendant, but state there is no way you fathered her 2-year-old son, Jay. Jaden. You opened your case because you claim Ms. Canterbury threatened to put you on child support, and you want to prove you're not the father before she can do that. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Cooper was definitely one of those dramatic men you don't want to mess with. He claimed he had been watching paternity court for a while, and he had seen how good men are played by wicked women who just don't care. He then went on to drop a truth bomb, where he said Ms. Canterbury called the night before to ask if he was going to be upset if he found out the baby wasn't his.
I watch people come in here all the time, and some people be good men and get criticized, and then they be sitting here, then all they want is just the money from them, and it ain't gonna be me today.
And you're convinced that Jaden's not your biological child.
She know that baby ain't mine. That's like she just called me last night talking about some, would you be mad if he wasn't yours?
What? That's a lie, though. That's a lie. I never said any of that.
He might be denying the baby now, but that was not the man Ms. Canterbury claimed he was while they were kicking it in bed. As she recalled on more than one occasion when they had sex, she claimed that Mr. Cooper told her that he wanted her to have his kids. He stopped her immediately. She said that and said she was lying.
While we were having sex, that he wanted me to have his baby.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Your Honor, she's a lie. I never said that.
But you did. He did. He said that.
I ain't say that.
What did you say?
I see it. I'm enjoying this moment right now in so many words. That's all I said, Your Honor. Ms. Lake, I didn't say nothing about no baby, have my baby. No, none of that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That's a lie. That's a lie. He did.
So wait, well, were you
You got me confused with somebody else.
Did you say it in the heat of the moment, mister?
As they kept on arguing about who was lying and who wasn't lying, another truth slipped out of Mr. Cooper's mouth. Now, when Ms. Canterbury found out she was pregnant, she never reached out to Mr. Cooper or even tried to tell him it could be his child. But the moment the child was born, Mr. Cooper got a call from his mom telling him that Ms. Canterbury was in her house claiming that he was the father of her child.
Monitor, you saw?
That's one of the pictures. I liked it, a couple of them. She didn't say nothing to me.
But when did you hear that you could potentially be Jaden's biological
When Jaden was
father?
born.
When I found
get a
out
call,
I was pregnant.
Hold on, I'm talking. I get a call.
And you keep
I'm at the
talking.
house.
And you keep talking.
I'm at the house. I get a call. My mama called me. Some girl here with a baby. And I'm still a baby. What you mean, baby? That's how I felt. But I'm like, man, you got me messed up. I ain't got no kids.
And that is the first time.
Mr. Cooper was trying to reason with the judge. He was mad about the fact that Ms. Canterbury never for once mentioned to him that he could be a possible father to her baby. She just walked to his mother's house and dropped off the baby. To him, it made no sense, and that was part of why he had doubts that the baby could be his.
You know this baby was my baby, or you claim it to be my baby. If you had a baby and you thought a man was your potential baby father, once you let him know whether he is or he not, you would
And
say
I did.
something, and you would let him know, it's a potential. You could be. You would say that, right?
Of course, but I wouldn't have a
nobody
potential.
stuck in the dark, living a lie. You're not gonna do that. She admitted to it. Man, she admitted to being with other dudes.
Now Mr. Cooper was trying to prove to the courtroom that the window of conception Ms. Canterbury was claiming to have occurred was somewhat incorrect. There was a time they had a threesome, and he remembered he was very drunk, but one thing he remembered perfectly was the fact that he used protection.
Second time we had sex was this week, through the 28th. And I remember it was threesome. We was all drunk.
You are
And I had a
definitely
condom
a
on.
lie.
How are you so sure you wore the condom?
Judge, I woke up with it on.
Oh!
He literally
I
don't know
woke
what
up
he's
with it
talking
on. It was on me.
And the second time we had sex
It was
wasn't until after Jaden was born.
Okay.
Well, the drama from the window of conception was finally put aside. Ms. Canterbury was very upset that Mr. Cooper had not done anything for both her and her child since she told him she was pregnant. Instead of him stepping up, her boyfriend had been the father figure in her baby's life. She even said he had been with her after her son turned 1 year of age.
Not at all.
Doing anything for Jaden?
Nope, nothing.
Who's been Jaden's father
My
figure?
boyfriend, Casey.
So your boyfriend has had to step up and be a father figure to Jaden?
Yes, we've been together since before Jaden was 1 year old. So he's been here, he's taken care of him financially, he's been here, taught him things. He's been the only father figure in his life. They're very close.
Now, Your Honor.
It's high time we brought this paternity war zone to a close. It's been one tricky ride here, but all that suspense is about to be over. All eyes are on the judge as she unleashes the truth.
Mr. Cooper, you are the father.
Like I said.
You are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor, for those results. I will leave you alone. I will do
No,
everything
you won't,
want me to
because
do.
you got a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old to take care of.
Mr. Jones and Ms. Dowless have to be the funniest couple on the paternity court show. Their love story bounces from cheating to lying to deceiving. You just name it. From one charade to the next, these two find themselves in court, dragging each other for who is the better parent. Buckle up, people. You're about to be dumbfounded by this couple's drama.
All right, Ms. Douglas, you are suing the father of your 5 children for a paternity test. You claim at times the defendant defendant, Mr. Jones, doesn't treat your daughter, Cheyenne, as his own, and that he has always been suspicious that he's not her biological father. You admit that you kept a secret from him and you cheated on him with his cousin, but say when that secret finally came out, he immediately denied.
Getting down into the bits of this drama, right from the beginning of the case, Ms. Dowless admitted to cheating on Mr. Jones. She apparently slept with his cousin. Now, that's all shades of crazy, if you ask me. Here's the shocking thing. Mr. Jones was no saint either. He was also cheating on her with her own cousin and one of his baby mamas. I would have lost my mind if I were the judge, honestly.
I do, because I did make a mistake. I slept with this cousin and the condom had broke, but before that, Tyrone was downstairs sleeping with my cousin. He was still having sex with his baby's mom. He was doing him basically, but yeah, I did.
That was a mouthful. Made a mistake and slept with his cousin.
Yeah.
But he was downstairs sleeping with your cousin?
Yes. And more. I don't cheat. I don't believe in cheating. I'm very...
Just like in the movies, Mr. Jones and Mrs. Douglas met at a party. Things got pretty freaky and interesting after that, and they ended up getting pretty intimate. After her cozy night with Mr. Jones, she met his cousin, and voila, she went down on him too. How does that even happen?
I met Tyrone actually at a party that happened downstairs in my building. I met him and his cousin almost the same night. Me and Tyrone got together the first night we watched movies. The next night we did have sex, but we weren't together. We just had sex, and after that he went back to his other baby's mom. And then I met his cousin, and I slept with his cousin, but we weren't together. So yeah, I slept with his cousin, but...
And things were starting to get heated up in the courtroom, with both of them staring into each other's eyes, like it was about to be a bloodbath. Boom! Ms. Dowless gets pregnant. Ring, ring, ring. She hits up and tells Mr. Jones that it's his baby. Things seem pretty nice, right? Well, let's burst some bubbles.
I wasn't too sure about it when she told me, but I'm like, okay, when she did tell me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do.
So you did try to support her through this?
Yeah, I actually did.
I'm looking at you, Ms. Douglas, and you saying I didn't feel supported.
No, not at all. And let's go back to the cousin part. Like, when I did sleep with his cousin, I was gonna deny the whole thing, but he actually went in my room and actually smelled the bed and actually said it smelled like his cousin.
She finally decides to open up 2 damn years later, telling Mr. Jones that she had a thing with his cousin. You could see the rage in his eyes, wondering where and how it all went down, just like that. Good baby daddy starts to play the role of, I'm not sure this is my kid. I did tell you things were going to escalate.
Truth though, 2 years after my daughter was 2, I ended up telling him the truth.
So you go in and you smell, you know the cologne, your cousin, you say, okay, I know my cousin was here, but she denied everything. How long did it take you to tell the truth?
After my daughter was 2 years old.
Okay, so you are you in a committed relationship?
No.
You just going along for the baby's sake?
Slowly, all hell starts to break loose. Ms. Dowless spills the beans about Mr. Jones, telling the court how he wasn't there for her daughter and that he was taking care of his other kids with his baby mama. Yep, you had that right, other kids. It's already a whole mess at this point.
He went to Chicago with his other's baby mama. We were together then, and I'm pregnant with his son. He went to Chicago. We didn't hear from him for about 4 months. Didn't call check up on his daughter, didn't call check up on the pregnancy or nothing. How I knew he was in Chicago with his baby mama was she texted my phone like, oh, you're looking for your man? He's with me. You wonder why he's not calling your daughter? Because he's with me. That's how I knew he was in Chicago.
Were you with another one of your children's mother when you...
Emotions are flying here and there. Apparently these couple have had other kids before their daughter, and they aren't even married. Are these two a baby factory, or what's going on with them?
5 children potentially together. Was your relationship ever committed? Was it ever an important thing to either one of you? Are we just making babies? Is it a baby factory? What is it?
After I had my daughter, it's like he was basically playing me. We weren't together, so I'm like, okay, anything you can do, I can do better. So, but after I had my son,
it's clear that these two had no trust for each other, even after having more than one child together. They can't seem to bring themselves to trust each other. Why would they? I mean, after getting intimate with each other's cousins, that's beyond a far stretch.
That's child number 2. You think he's cheating?
Yeah. I just had my twins 7 months ago. He's still talking to women. I don't never talk to anybody first. After I find out he cheats on me, that's when I do it. But I really do want to be with him, and I want to make a family for my 5 kids.
Now, Ms. Douglas, you just keep saying, okay, now see, I do not believe in cheating. I do not believe in cheating. But when he does this, then I go do that.
Everything went from a peaceful conversation to a bloodbath, with the couples throwing tantrums about who got intimate with whom and who couldn't be a good parent. Well, the moment of truth is finally here. Every single eye is placed on the judge as she's about to reveal the final verdict. Hold your breath.
Mr. Jones, you are not fine.
Now I'm embarrassed, gotta face public humiliation because She didn't want to be honest before we came here.
Your Honor, I didn't know. I didn't even know the
You
kind of
knew,
busted.
man.
I didn't
You
even know
knew.
the kind of busted. How would I know if he's not the father when we're sleeping together every day? How would I know?
She told me, nah, I don't have no doubts.
This time around, it was the man's turn to save the marriage. Mr. LeBlanc was on the verge of losing his wife and entire marriage if the results turned out to place him as the father of his mistress's child. Mrs. LeBlanc had it to her throat with her husband and was willing to throw it all away. Trust me, this case would leave you battling with goosebumps. I hope you guys are ready for the baby daddy saga that's about to unfold before your eyes.
Ms. Whalen, you admit you've been in a sexual relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claim he is the father of your 2-year-old son, Vincent Whalen. Mr. LeBlanc, you are determined to prove that you are not the father of Miss Whalen's son in hopes of saving your marriage. Mrs. LeBlanc, you are at your breaking point and say, if the DNA proves your husband is the father.
Ms. Whalen, who happened to be the runaway mistress in the picture, had quite a lot to say about Mr. LeBlanc's sneaky ways. Going down memory lane to how it all started, Ms. Whalen apparently didn't know he had a wife. While he was away, he was busy having a good time with Ms. Whalen. The bombshell drops and she finds out she's pregnant. Mr. LeBlanc enters full panic mode because he knows his wife can't find out.
Let's try to figure out what is really going on here.
A baby.
Now listen, Mr. LeBlanc, when she told you she was pregnant, what were you thinking?
I was in disbelief. I didn't want to believe it.
Were you worried about how you were going to be able to tell your wife?
I was, yes, Your Honor. I was worried. And that was the thing. That's why I didn't want her to be pregnant, because I didn't know how to.
Unfortunately, you should have thought about that.
Apparently, this wasn't Mr. LeBlanc's first rodeo of cheating on his wife. This time around, he had an affair and broke the news to his wife over a text. Yup, you heard that right. Looks like Mr. LeBlanc is definitely scared of his wife.
What did the text say?
The text message stated, I can't believe I did this to you again. Again. I can't believe I did this to you again.
The word I'm hearing is again.
Right, again, like over.
So wait a minute, there was another time?
Yes, ma'am. Prior to Vincent, there was Jaden.
Who's the mother of that child?
I am. That's my 3-year-old.
Ms. Whalen and Mrs. LeBlanc couldn't be in the same room. These women wanted to rip each other apart. Trust me, if that was a boxing ring, it would have had a Mike Tyson kind of boxing match. They kept throwing shades at each other. Even the judge had to call them to order. Well done, Mr. LeBlanc. Well done.
That's my husband. That's called love. Feelings you can put in your pocket and throw away.
That much love.
Feelings you can put in your pocket. You can throw them on the ground, step on them. I love my mother.
Ladies, calm down. Cause I know you all think it's cute cause you going back and forth, but all y'all look crazy. Cause you sit up there arguing back and forth, and he doing nothing but running back and forth.
Like I said, Ms. Whalen and Mrs. LeBlanc weren't fans of each other. When Mrs. LeBlanc was asked why she felt the child could not belong to her husband, her answer was out of this world. She was so certain that the child couldn't be for her husband because Ms. Whalen was sleeping around with different men. The courtroom is a mess right now.
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Why?
Her promiscuity. Promiscuous, very promiscuous. Like I said, the mailman, the milkman. Not only that, you sleeping with a married man. You know,
So hold on.
So why not?
You ain't gotta sleep with a married man if he come to you.
Why not?
Hold on.
He came to you because you were easy.
Hold on, Miss LeBlanc.
He couldn't do what he wanted to do.
So you're saying if Vincent is your husband's biological child?
Let me tell you something that would make your bubbles burst. Mr. LeBlanc and Mrs. Whalen already had a child before the particular kid in question, meaning they had been fooling around for quite some time. Trust me, I can understand Mrs. LeBlanc's frustration. She just has had enough of her husband's mischievous ways.
And you understand that, Mr. LeBlanc?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Is that why you're not acknowledging and claiming the paternity of Vincent the way you did Jaden because you're afraid your wife is gonna leave?
No, ma'am, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with my wife leaving. It comes about, okay, look at the name Vincent. Who is Vincent? Where'd she get the name Vincent from?
You know what? I'm gonna need you to use a little bit more logic in these.
Another truth bomb hits the floors of the courtroom. Apparently, there might be two baby daddy in the mix. Ms. Whalen opened and said while Mr. LeBlanc ran back to his wife. She might have gotten intimate with another man. Well, I certainly don't blame her. She wasn't committed to him anyway.
It might be. I might have had a moment. I wasn't committed to this man, nor was I married to this man. So yeah, I might have had a moment.
Well, go ahead and tell the truth then, because that's why we're here. So now we have the truth that there potentially could be another father, and so your doubts or your concerns have been validated. Ms. Wayland, did you ever tell anybody else that they're potentially the father?
No, Your Honor, I have not.
Now that all made this last part all the more interesting, won't you guys agree? Well, the results were in, and Judge Lael seemed about ready to deliver her final verdict on the mess these guys created. Let's find out who was the daddy.
Mr. LeBlanc, you are the father. Ms. LeBlanc, I know that's not what you wanted to hear today.
No, not at all. Not at all, Your Honor.
Tell your husband. I've tried to just articulate it for you because I know even as you argue back and forth with them, that's just the way that you're trying to hold on to your strength.
I had sex with Mr. Parker more than I did the other guy. We had sexual relations probably once or twice a week.
Doesn't make sense because right after we broke up, maybe a week or two later, she was right back with her ex.
You've been potty training your son. You don't know that I spend money on your son. You don't know that one day she had no money for diapers and she called you and asked you for $5 and you told her no, but then you got a cab and went somewhere?
Yeah, we got divorced, but then we still messed around from time to time.
So you got her pregnant after you divorced?
I admit it.
Case 1. Miss Robinson arrived in court, determined to prove that Mr. Parker is the father of her 23-month-old daughter, Tanila. Their wedding was called off when Parker started doubting the child's paternity. Now, everything hinges on today's DNA test.
Ms. Robinson, you're here desperately trying to save your relationship. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove to the defendant, Mr. Parker, that he is the father of your 23-month-old daughter, Tanila.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Parker, you put your wedding on hold because you're positive you are not the father.
Despite his doubts, Mr. Parker stayed silent even when he caught her hand in hand with another man. He didn't confront her, hoping maybe the truth would eventually come to light on its own, but that moment never came.
Started to be more distant herself, and the calls started not coming in. She didn't start showing up.
Towards you.
Yes, you were.
I was spending multiple times with you.
Someone else. She started not coming, home a lot, and things started changing everything. Then,
Your Honor, we was not living together. I was living with my grandmother. We were spending nights.
To make matters worse, Miss Robinson admitted she never told Mr. Parker about her pregnancy until the baby was already 5 months old. Now, she wants to mend things, as though those lost months never happened.
Somebody else, I did my own thing. I wasn't really too much worried about her. Then all of a sudden, things started to come back around. She came to my house. I asked her, I was so shocked at her. I was like, hey, how you doing today? I seen a long time ago. And all of a sudden, it was a baby there. So I'm like, who's this baby of yours? And she was like, this is your child. And I said, what? My child? What do you mean, my child?
Mr. Parker learned he was a father in the most shocking way. Robinson showed up at his door, baby in arms, offering no warning. It was less of a conversation and more of a bombshell dropped at his doorstep.
So when you first found out you were pregnant, did you contact Mr. Parker at all?
During my pregnancy, Your Honor, no, I have not.
You didn't?
No.
Were you with anybody else during that time?
Yes, Your Honor, I was.
Robinson claimed fear kept her from telling him, but that excuse crumbled quickly, especially since she had no issue telling a different man that he might be the baby's father. Her selective honesty raised more questions than answers.
Your Honor, I was going through my pregnancy hormones, and I was just distraught. I was going through a lot. I was nervous. I didn't know how to go about coming to him with the bad news.
What bad news?
That I was sleeping around with someone else.
Courtroom jaws dropped when it was revealed that this other man actually signed the birth certificate. If Mr. Parker is the real father, someone else legally claimed his child for nearly 2 years.
The other guy had signed the birth certificate, and also I knew that he would be devastated. I didn't know how to come to him and just say, oh, well, the other guy has signed her birth certificate.
But you don't let somebody sign a birth certificate just because they're there.
You're right, Your Honor.
Things got personal when Robinson's sister took the stand. She had moved states to help raise Tanila, only to find out she'd been lied to from the start. Her shock was so deep, she considered leaving the courtroom entirely.
What happened then?
My whole life changed. Your Honor, I was like...
Happy?
I was happy, you're right. I was excited, I felt like I was on heaven. That was everything in the world to me. I saw this little girl, my mama kept in my ear telling me, oh, she looked just like you, when you was a baby and everything.
In a bizarre turn, Miss Robinson presented a relationship chart showing that 80% of her intimacy was with Mr. Parker and 20% with another man. Unfortunately for her, DNA doesn't measure averages it deals in absolute.
Ms. Robinson,
I'm her sister.
What do you know about this?
I talk to her a lot on the phone. I hear her crying a lot. I
I moved down here from Chicago to help her out. I keep the baby for weeks at a time. I provide financially for the baby. She wants to go to school. I must say,
Mr. Parker, though calm on the outside, was breaking on the inside. He'd spent nearly 2 years emotionally and financially supporting Tanilla, unsure if he was even her father. His world stood still as the truth approached.
So you said you knew the whole time that the child was Mr. Parker's, even though you lied and said it was the other guy.
Yes, sure.
How can you be so certain if you were with both of them during the window of conception?
I had sex with Mr. Parker more than I did the other guy. We had sexual relations probably once or twice a week.
Finally, the results were ready. The courtroom held its breath, knowing the outcome would change lives. And when the answer was revealed, the tension that had been building all this time exploded into raw, unfiltered emotion.
Mr. Parker, you are not Tanila's father.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Sis! I'm sorry.
Like a whole year wasted, man. I want to be her dad.
Case 2. This case is already full of twists, and it's about to get even more bizarre. Ms. Johnson claims that Mr. Rice is the father of her 6-month-old son, Jeremiah, but Mr. Rice is convinced otherwise. In fact, he believes he already knows who the real father is.
And you have summoned the defendant to court today to prove that he fathered your 6-month-old son, Jeremiah.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Rice, you say you are 100% certain you are not her child's biological father.
From the start, it's clear Mr. Rice has had no involvement with the child. He wasn't present during the pregnancy or at the birth, and he refuses to accept any responsibility without a DNA test. His doubts are rooted in the many red flags he's seen.
We had sex, and I found out I was pregnant in September.
Back when we first met, back in high school, I've always had a crush on her. You know, when she needed something, you know, I would be there for her. You know, even when she needed a shoulder to cry on, I was just that person to be there.
Okay, so you all have a history.
Yeah, and I finally got my shot, and I decided to take it.
Ms. Johnson admits their relationship began as a rebound after she broke up with her ex. Within 2 months, she was pregnant. But just after breaking the news, she ended things with Mr. Rice raising serious questions about her motives.
It's a regular doctor's appointment. I wasn't feeling good, and when I got in there, she said, she was like, Miss Johnson, you're pregnant. And I was like, what? And me and Mr. Rice had already talked about, you know, he said he wanted kids, and I didn't think it was a problem. I thought he would be happy that I was pregnant. And he was happy.
Mr. Rice recalls being excited about fatherhood until she dropped a bombshell. She wasn't sure if the baby was his. Then came news of an STD scare, and Mr. Rice tested clean, further deepening his suspicion.
Because I knew him just like he knew him. So I messaged him and was like, have you seen Mr. Rice? And he was like, he hasn't seen him, but when he does, he'll tell him, you know, I told him to tell him I was pregnant. And he told him.
And so I called her, I got on the phone with her, and I was talking to her, and I was excited about it. You know, I was thrilled, I was happy.
Trying to make sense of the timeline, Mr. Rice notes she told him in October she was 1 month pregnant. By that math, the baby should have arrived in June, but Jeremiah was born in April. Mr. Rice suspects deception was part of the plan.
It doesn't make sense to me at all, Your Honor, because I wasn't having sex with anybody but him during the time. So there was no way that he didn't have it because I wasn't sleeping with anybody else.
She was there when I took the test.
Yeah, I was there through everything. I'm the one that told him to go.
And so you were told you don't have the STD.
Enter Mr. Williams, the ex-boyfriend. He's been involved since the beginning, attending appointments, changing diapers, the whole 9 yards. But when asked who Ms. Johnson named as the father, he pointed at Mr. Rice. Why take full responsibility if he had doubts too?
And you believe her ex is Jeremiah's biological father.
That means she was cheating already.
I haven't cheated on him. I haven't been with anybody else but Mr. Rice.
But it doesn't make sense, because right after we broke up, maybe a week or two later, she was right back with her ex.
Then came the oddest detail. Yet the baby's middle name is Siege, which is James spelled backward, and James is Mr. Williams' first name. Mr. Rice sees it as a coded clue, not a coincidence, and he's had enough.
At this moment, Mr. Rice, you believe Ms. Johnson's ex-boyfriend is the father of Jeremiah, not you.
Because when she told me she was a month pregnant, it was in October. But if she was a month pregnant in October, the baby was supposed to be born in June. The baby was born in April.
With all the confusion, finger-pointing, and secrets, the courtroom feels more like a drama series. The judge has heard enough. It's time for the only thing that can clear the air, the DNA test.
Despite what she tells you?
Yes, ma'am.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
So you think this is your biological child?
Yes, ma'am.
The biological father is Mr. Rice. You are the father.
Case 3. This case is nothing short of chaotic. Ms. Hines claims that her ex-husband, Mr. Jackson, is the biological father of her 22-month-old son, Matthias, but Jackson flatly denies it, arguing she was living with another man around the time Matthias was conceived.
Hines, today you've summoned your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Jackson, to court. You want to prove that he fathered your 22-month-old son, Matthias. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Hines insists otherwise. She claims it happened on Christmas intimate moments in a car, a night she says led to the pregnancy. She even recalls Jackson calling it a Christmas gift, but he says that's fiction. He was with family and saw another man at her place.
What information do you have that would suggest that she was
had
having
another
sex with
male
somebody
living
else?
with her, and it was a time that I was snooping around the house and I had seen a box because he had says he was taking some stuff to storage. So I seen a box, and in that box it was some condoms in the box.
Then Jackson throws in his own evidence. He discovered messages from other men, one even calling her bouncy, and found condoms tucked away in a drawer. He's been quietly collecting clues, and now he's laying them all out.
I mean, if you snooping, why are you even with her then?
I've just seen so many things that seem shady.
So what you're saying is the instances of admitting she's cheating, the little lies, and those things were leading you to doubt her.
Leading me to doubt her.
The courtroom gasps when Miss Hines finally admits she did sleep with her ex, but she argues it was before Jackson came into the picture. Meanwhile, Jackson was obsessed with her phone, always reading texts, trying to catch her slipping.
Is brown hair like that. My brother was born with light brown hair.
Yeah, but my daughter looks exactly like me, like my
To be honest, if you look really closely at his hair is not jet black. And my son's hair was lighter than that.
Things take another strange turn when Jackson says he felt disconnected because she was still living with another man. Hines claims the man was already on his way out, but Jackson doesn't buy. He says they were doing couple things like sharing baths and cooking dinner.
So, Ms. Hines, what has Mr. Jackson done for Matthias? Is he involved? Does he help support him?
Behind closed doors, he's his son. Around other people, he's not. When we're together, that's his son.
Yeah,
when we're not together, he's not his son.
Now the tables turn. Miss Hines brings receipts Facebook messages showing Jackson sweet-talking multiple women. The crowd murmurs. She asks how he can be so angry when he wasn't exactly loyal himself.
You've been struggling to support Matthias.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jackson has contributed what?
4 outfits.
And you've been doing this by yourself?
I mean, I have my mom, and then I have my best friend.
And then there's Matthias. While Jackson hasn't been around, Hines and her best friend have been raising the child. Her friend has been more of a father, helping with potty training and everyday care. When Hines asked Jackson for $5 for diapers, he said no, yet somehow managed to pay for a cab elsewhere.
You know that I've been potty training your son. You don't know that I spend money on your son. You don't know that one day she had no money for diapers and she called you and asked you for $5 and you told her no, but then you got a cab and went somewhere?
Now it all comes down to the DNA test. The courtroom falls completely silent. Jackson looks nervous. Hines is stunned, and the judge prepares to reveal the one truth that no one can argue with the results.
Mr. Jackson, you are Matthias's father.
At least, if I can get
That's up to her.
Case 4 on one side of the courtroom stood Miss Cheris, not just fighting for herself, but for her daughter, Arya. She claimed the child had been left behind by her father, Mr. MC Queen, a man who, in her eyes, ran the moment things got real.
No choice but to drag the defendant into court today because you say he moved away and abandoned your 9-month-old daughter, Arya. You believe the DNA results will prove that he is her biological father, and you demand he stops running from his responsibility.
But Mr. MC Queen came in with a different narrative. He said he wasn't abandoning responsibility. He was trying to escape what he called a toxic relationship. His doubts about Cheris's loyalty haunted him, and he wasn't convinced the child was his.
That Ms. Cherpez's relationships with multiple other men is what drove you away, and you believe that today's results will prove baby Arya's father is another man. Is that correct?
Yes. Miss Cheris, holding back tears, told the court how they had once dreamed of having a child together. She moved in with him, believing in a future where they'd raise a family, only to watch those dreams fall apart.
What has Mr. McQueen done for your daughter so far?
He has bought her 1 box of diapers and 2 things of wipes.
So she's 8 months old, 9 months old, pretty much nothing?
Yep.
And I can see that that really hurts you. You very angry about that?
Yes.
Tell the court.
It's hard because, I don't know, I didn't ever see it like this.
She accused him of cheating not once or twice, but repeatedly. Still, she stayed, convinced that their child would bring them closer, even though their bond kept unraveling.
The only reason you're questioning me is because you were unfaithful.
I was unfaithful, yes.
And so you caught him cheating on you.
Yep.
And how did this lead to the paternity question? I mean, if you say you were faithful, he cheated on you, that still has nothing to do with Araya's paternity.
It's because he doesn't trust himself, so he thought it was all right, so he assumes I thought it was okay to be cheating on him.
MC Queen, however, said his doubts weren't without reason. He pointed to messages, rumors, and even one night she spent at another man's house. These signs led him to question everything, including the child's paternity.
Mr. McQueen, is there truth to that? Are you just out there doing the wrong thing and you think she is too? What evidence do you have that she's even cheating?
I have heard numerous times and have seen her phone from the corner eye view of walking by that she is getting attention of other men. She's getting money from other men while I am working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Charis's mother, who had stepped in to raise Aria, spoke with heartbreak. She remembered a time when MC Queen had been excited to become a father. Now, she couldn't understand how that same man could turn his back on his
mad at Mr. McQueen because the responsibility is falling on me and my husband, and it should be his responsibility for the baby, not ours.
How is the responsibility falling on you?
daughter. MC Queen admitted to his own wrongs. Yes, he cheated, but he argued it was a response to feeling emotionally neglected. He believed Charis constantly sought attention elsewhere, leaving him feeling isolated in their relationship.
Queen, did you plan to have Araya?
Yes, we did plan on having Araya.
So now she's here. What's the problem?
The problem is that when I was at work, she was doing what I don't even know, talking to all these other men during all of this, and this was, not okay with me.
A courtroom filled with accusations he strayed, she lied, and between them was a child who didn't ask for any of it. Both felt betrayed. Both claimed to have been hurt, but neither could agree on what the truth really was.
For a place, I wouldn't
give you money, so I was living with my dad.
Ex-boyfriend to get money. Yeah, and I took you out of there, so you didn't have to put up with the bad situation.
I could have stayed there. To what? Put her in a worse one?
That was not the plan.
Mr. MC Queen admitted he couldn't look past her male friendships. To him, they were red flags, not just friends. As the judge listened to the emotional tug-of-war, everything came down to one critical moment. Was Aria really his daughter? The truth was moments away.
The biological father is Mr. McQueen. See?
Case 5, Mr. Scott entered the courtroom with a cold, calculated demeanor. He wasn't just contesting paternity, he was defending what was left of his reputation. With 6 kids already by 3 different women, he had no plans of accepting a 7th without solid proof.
Mr. Scott, you say you are appearing in court today to clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
You state many women, including the defendant, have dragged your reputation through the mud, claiming you are the father of their children.
Yes, Your Honor.
You admit to having 6 kids by 3 different women.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Crane, on the other hand, stood firm. She believed without a doubt that 3-year-old Jaylyn was Scott's child. According to her, his denial was just another lie from a man known for infidelity and dishonesty.
Crane, you say you were always faithful to Mr. Scott and that Jaylyn is definitely his son.
Yes, Your Honor.
You argue Mr. Scott is the one who cheated and claimed that during your pregnancy, you
true.
found out he was a married man.
She's been
Honor.
cheating the whole time.
Never.
Scott pushed back hard, painting Crane as the one hiding secrets. He told the court how he once followed her and saw another man pick her up. That, combined with her own alleged admission of seeing other men, fueled his suspicion.
Explain to me why you have these doubts about Miss Crane.
Where you want me to start at?
I want you to start from the beginning and tell me the truth.
When we're together, her cell phone will ring, she'll walk out the room. She'll cut her cell phone off. She'll leave her cell phone with her best friend. Or after we spend the night with each other.
But Miss Crane wasn't about to be silenced. She told the judge about the time she traced a mysterious phone number from Scott's deleted calls. It led her to a woman who claimed to be Scott's wife and had been for 9 years.
Your Honor, I was 7 months pregnant. I didn't know where Marcel was. He used my phone one time. He deleted all his calls. So I went back on the internet, went back to the research, called all the numbers he called, and found out he was married for 9 years.
That's true. I was married. That's true. I was married, but I've been divorced since December 2009.
Scott shifted his stance slightly, saying his doubt came from Crane's own strange behavior. He accused her of covering Jalen's stroller with a blanket to avoid being seen, and even claimed she had a romantic link to his ex-wife's cousin. Her tattoos featuring other men's names only intensified his doubt.
Miss Crane has a tattoo on her body.
Well, I don't know if she still has it, but what she just told me recently that she had it covered up. She has not one, not two, not three, but 3 dudes named tattooed.
No, Your Honor, I had one, and that was my ex-boyfriend for 5 years.
Now,
the baby that she's saying is yours?
I don't know if it was one of them men, but the dude that she was with was my ex-wife's cousin.
The judge grew visibly concerned as the accusations piled up. The stories clashed at every turn. Was Crane hiding the truth, or was Scott using manipulation to dodge responsibility once again? Then came a jaw-dropping revelation.
After I found out he was married.
Call back 2 weeks later.
Were you pregnant when you found out?
Yeah, I was 7 months pregnant. And at the doctor's
She didn't even
appointment,
have a
I
car.
seen his wife, and she was pregnant at the same time.
Yeah, they was.
Wait a
Me and
minute.
her wasn't
You
together.
were divorced
Yeah, we
from
got
your
divorced,
wife.
but then we still messed around from time
So you
to
got
time.
her pregnant after you divorced?
I mean, I admit it.
Your Honor, and then when I asked him about
Scott admitted that although he said he was divorced, he and his ex-wife were still involved. In fact, they were still having children together. What he once presented as a clean break was now clearly a very messy entanglement.
Baby, if she knew this was my baby, she's 100% sure. Then how come you didn't put my name on the birth certificate?
Your Honor, why
How he
would
doesn't
I
have
put
my
his name
last
on the birth
name?
certificate?
Why
He's
he don't
been
have my
married for
last
9
name?
years.
All my kids, I got 9 kids. I have 6 kids, and I take care of all my kids.
Emphasized that the real issue was simple DNA doesn't lie. He asked the court to ignore the drama and focus solely on the test that could settle everything.
Your Honor, let me tell you something. No, I got home from work. My son was outside playing.
You never had a job.
He came. Please.
Never had a job.
Just like you didn't, right? Anyway, so he was at the front gate. We have a gate in our building. So he was like, Jalen, come here, Jalen, come here. So I'm like, who's calling my son? So we go over to the gate with my son. He gave my son $1. 5 minutes after talking to me and my son, he took it back.
As the judge prepared to read the results, the tension in the room was palpable. For 3 long years, Scott had waited for this moment, the one piece of truth that would finally reveal whether or not Jalen was truly his son.
Mr. Scott, the wait is over. You are the father.